Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all here today to the Jackson County Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, July 25th. If you can imagine, it's the end of July already. So 2023, with me today, I have Don Schwenker,
Morning.
Lynn Flagel, myself, Mike Steinis are your county supervisors. Lisa Smith is our county auditor, of course.
Morning.
And Bjorn is our IT director, and Luann is our executive assistant in the background. And we have Mary here from the newspaper.
Hey.
And first on our agenda today is Jaden Shekel, our assistant Jackson County engineer. Good morning, Jaden.
Good morning. I got here 3 RCTP agreements. I believe you guys have seen these a month or so ago. One is for the city of Andrew. It looks like they're resurfacing streets. Guess I should step back. Do you want to do all 3 of these at once or do them individually?
I don't know what we've done previously.
You can do them all together.
I would think it's all one program. Yeah, it's not like it's 3 different.
Alright, so the first one is, said the city of Andrew, they're looking to resurface some of their streets in town. Second one is for the city of Springbrook. They wanted air catch basin and some pavement repair on South First Street. Then the last one is for the city of Monmouth, which is our design fee for the East Line Bridge that they're getting money to replace.
Sure we want the Baldwin too.
There's only these 3, I believe. They did not submit theirs in time, was my understanding.
So the way this looks, it looks like it was recommended award, RCTP.
Yeah.
For the city of Baldwin.
We got 12,014.
Yeah.
I will have to check. These are the only 3 that I guess I was given.
Everybody who applied was not awarded.
It said awarded. Recommend award.
There were 7 applications, I believe.
Say I'll touch base with Todd later this week and see what he.
Yeah,
He knows the details.
even above that ranking, it says ranking
Right,
committee
right.
reviewed the applications. Assigned points for each one, scoring criteria established per the guidelines. Committee recommends awarding 25 to Monmouth, 12, 410 to Baldwin, 25 to Andrew, and through 3119 to Springbrook. Table 3 provides the results of the ranking process.
So that's the.
Well, I
ranking.
guess we're doing these 3 for sure, and
Say I'll check with Todd. Maybe Todd hasn't received. ECIA sends that out, correct? Or that's who that's from?
Yeah.
This is for Shannon.
So I'll see if Todd's received it from them or not.
Well, I'd say we approved it. I'd make a motion to approve the 3 and then. If we get the request or whatever for Baldwin, we go ahead and approve that when it comes in. I'd make a motion that we approve Monmouth, Andrew and Springbrook.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second to approve the RCTP awards to Monmouth, Andrew and Springbrook as presented. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye, opposed nay, motion carried.
Give you guys an update on some of our construction projects. Our patching project Z34 from City of Preston to the Damon Bridge. They are done patching on that roadway. They finished last week on that one. And they started D55 from City of Lamont to Highway 52. That'll probably should take them all the way into the end of next week because I believe they're not working Friday and possibly Thursday due to the heat, so there's a couple days they won't be working, but.
Are they flagging from one end to the other? I pulled up there one day, I was gonna go around that way and she said, do you know another way? I said, yeah.
All the way from
I think
52.
I think, she said, I think Jess, you go another way. I said, are you running the whole route? She said, I think so,
I'll check.
I would doubt it, but because there's several other roads, side roads that they could take, so that's, I would, except to get to Lamont, I don't think.
Well, there would be no need because they're not gonna patch that entire stretch from 52 to Lamont, so
Right.
their whole path. They do sections that, they're
Right.
not gonna do all That whole, is
Right.
it 6 or 7 miles?
Yeah, I guess not that it makes any difference.
I'll check into it.
Limit of where they can go to.
There might be, yeah, I know it's like 20, they're all about 20 minutes max waiting for a pilot or so.
Okay, what else do you have?
Does it look like this? Because Luann just sent out an RCTP thing and the Baldwin one is in there.
Hmm.
It's a 16-page document. There's a cover page and it talks about what they're gonna do with the money and everything.
Let,
We'll find out. Yeah.
I'll let her check.
I'll ask Todd, these are the only 3 that I guess. As far as I know that we have copies of, I haven't seen the Baldwins, but I'll make a note now as we got time.
Any other more updates?
The 49th Street Bridge over by Monmouth. We had a pre-construction meeting with Dan Schrader on Friday, and he plans on starting that bridge the 31st of July, so a week from yesterday. So there'll be that one, and then he's gonna start our day labor projects in September. So that'll take them all through the fall. There's 6 of those. And then the retrieval process update, they are working right now in the Bellevue and Lamont area. They're doing a road in the Bellevue Shops District right now to eliminate conflicts with the farmer that lives on that road that they're on right now is gonna be doing some chopping here coming up, so they're gonna do this road ahead of time to eliminate us trying to do retrieval, processing, grading, and then running chopper boxes up and down the road.
Mhm.
I know as we get in the fall, it's gonna be, we're gonna run into stuff like this, but if we can avoid it, if there's chances we can take to avoid it as much as possible, obviously, we're.
I
gonna do
appreciate the fact that either somebody come forward to let you know that or somebody checked into it because. Yeah, we don't need to.
Makes everybody like here.
it. So that's where they're at, and then it's just this road in the Bellevue shop they're doing, will finish up likely tomorrow, and then after that, they're gonna jump back up to the Lamont shop and start finishing those roads and continue working south through the county, so.
They started in Lamont area though already too, correct?
They've done some of them, yeah.
Yeah, okay, up north Lamont.
Yeah, cause there was some roads where we had when we were in that really dry spell, that didn't need as much
Mm-hmm.
work, so. Say, well, we're gonna cherry pick roads to avoid, cause when it was that dry, we couldn't get compaction.
Makes sense.
On the road, so we're gonna cherry pick roads that don't need as much work, and that, some of them were one of those roads, so.
I've heard some really good things about, I'm gonna call it 250th, whatever it is from Cottonville to Lamont.
Oh, the overlay?
Yeah. Are they completely done with that?
Yep, they are
Do
done.
they come back for 2 bad spots if there is, or how does that work?
So we just got the smoothness report last week on it, and it came back as there was one spot that was. In question, or that did not pass. And it's right on the south, it's in the southbound lane, right as you're leaving. City of Lamont, city limits, or where that manhole is,
Mm-hmm.
right around in that area.
Okay.
There's a spot that came back bad.
I noticed just going down, I mean, I've heard good things about it, but I noticed just going down the road, every once in a while, there's like some white paint around an area or some
Oh.
arrow or something.
That,
And one spot in particular, and I don't know if it's got a marker on it, but it's right at the intersection of Bellevue Cascade and that highway. So on the northbound lane. There's like a 2-inch dip in it, like. Somebody might have spun when it was soft. So there's actually a hole there, and I don't know what you would do with that, if you would take it out and patch it back in, or can you put a nice thin layer in there? I don't know.
I don't know, nothing came back on the smoothness
Yeah.
report for that.
Well, it's there because I've noticed it now I notice it every time I go by. And it's right at the intersection, I mean, it's right in the north.
And it could be when they started their first lifts of asphalt, they had to allow some traffic to go through after the rollers and.
Yeah, and I don't know,
It
that's
could-
what I've never stopped and physically looked at it, but that's what it appears like. I thought, well,
And the white,
somebody's gonna come and do a burnout on that highway and it's gonna tear it up
and the white marks, okay. The white marks you're seeing them circles, that's where our cores for our samples to
Okay.
test for compaction, that's what that is.
Okay.
Maybe you should take a core sample right there, Mike's.
Yeah.
And then the arrows you saw are probably likely for the pavement markings where they have their no passing zones to start, stop. what have you.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's all done and we're in the process of closing that project out. I think that's all I can think of as far as our construction projects that are upcoming or ongoing for that matter. So that's all I have.
Okay,
Is there
Appreciate-
progress on the Moorhead and Channelworth Bridge or? Well, Moorhead would probably be done soon.
As far as construction wise, so right now Todd and Mike and myself are gonna put together a proposal. For that firms to do the design
Okay.
on that, since those are river bridges unique that are beyond our capacity. So we're in the process of doing that, Moorhead, as of right now, Moorhead's scheduled to go first, and then the Channelworth Bridge the following year.
Okay.
We were talking about what would make most sense to complete that, and if both of those bridges were to be in the same year, we wouldn't have the staff to do the inspection on both of those bridges. And then those two bridges being not too far apart, both of those bridges are out, right? That does creates a hindrance for the traffic in that area.
Right.
So Moorhead first, Channelworth second for the following year.
appreciate it. Good.
Thank you.
Yep. Are you intending to try to make contact with Todd, or are you gonna come bring it back next week, or what are you thinking here?
He's at a conference today
Yeah.
through, or yesterday through Wednesday, and I think he's gonna be back either Thursday or Friday.
I didn't know if he was available, like. Email or something that he would get back to you before we're done, but.
I can sure send him an email.
Yeah, if it happens, it happens. If not, we can bring it back.
Yeah, I'll send him an email if he responds. I'll let you know, or come back in here and let you
Yeah.
know. And
Perfect.
if you don't hear
Thank
from me,
you.
I guess they're, he hasn't responded.
Yep, thanks.
Yep.
Why don't you let us either know either way before you're done, or if we're out of here, or you're out of here on the day. All right, any visitors or citizens with us today via online or present? I don't see anyone present. I don't see anyone online, so we will move along. Elisa, are you?
I've got a big
Available?
agenda today.
Yeah.
This morning I need a motion to approve the minutes of the July 18th, 2023 board proceeding as written by Auditor Smith and authorized publication in the official newspaper. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the minutes of July 18th, 2023 board proceedings as written. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Stated in the paper.
That's all that I have for the board today.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Luann? Moving right along.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, calendar for this week. At 11 o'clock today, we have a work session at the Andrew Jackson Care Facility. Todd had asked if he was supposed to come in, and I told him you were planning to meet out there, so. And scheduled for 11:15 is a work session on the Law Enforcement Center project for all of you. At 6 o'clock tonight is the Jackson County Fair Parade. Wednesday, July 26th at 9 AM is an Iris meeting in Dubuque or by Zoom for an in. And at 7 o'clock Wednesday night, I tentatively have a Jackson County EMS Association meeting, but I don't know where that's supposed to be. Haven't got any confirmation on that.
I am not so sure that.
Well, usually they'll tell me before, the day before, so.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had any emails from any one of them, so. Is,
That's why it's tentative, so.
are they getting a new? President
They
then?
have
with
to
the-
vote
with-
in a new president.
For the hiring, okay.
Yep.
So they'll be getting a new president with us hiring Michael as our ENA. Okay,
Right. Thursday, July 27th at 9 AM is an RPA meeting in Dubuque for Don and Nin. Friday,
Did I see, is that Zoom only? Did I see an email?
I think it is.
I think it just came out, I
I
saw.
seen it yesterday, I think, but
Yeah,
That it's Zoom only.
I believe that's correct, so. Friday, July 28th at 7 AM. I tentatively have a Coconut leadership team for Don.
Yep.
Our next regular meeting will be on Thursday, August first.
Tuesday,
August 1st would be great.
Tuesday, August first.
Thursday would be better.
You think I know which day? I always know which Tuesdays are, ask my husband, but. I have one correction to what's in your binder, and that is that at 9 AM that morning, we have the public hearing on the 22nd Street excess right of way vacation. So I don't think that's on there, and then we'll have action on a resolution for that as part of the meeting. But I just got that yesterday, so it's not on here.
Resuming that meeting.
that's fine.
That's all the business I think I have for you tonight.
All right, any questions or discussion for Luann? All right, thank you. We certainly need to make some phone calls here. Would we take a short recess at this time? We will reconvene at this time. And we're joined by Lori Rowling, our Jackson County zoning administrator, and she has Ruth with your first assistant.
Yeah, first, second, third. So anyway, thank you. Good morning. Do you want to start with, well, let's start with the update for the comprehensive plan. So last week when we met, you guys were gonna start working on a list of people that you wanted to see on the steering committee. I sent you 3 ideas of mine also. Are you guys ready for us to start reaching out to those people?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I've got a whole, I thought we were gonna have some kind of a meeting. I've got a whole list of people. And I don't know whether we just throw them out there or if we sit down and I can give you some names and
Okay.
we discuss them somehow, but I don't know if we're gonna spend a half hour here discussing names.
Oh, probably not. So how do you guys want to address that? Do you guys want to do it later in the day or what's your thought?
Want to do a work session next week or?
Do we have time to wait till next week or I could come? I mean, I don't know when we're gonna discuss these names. Or these people, I should say.
Okay.
I don't know
That's-
How we go about that, how you, I mean, we still want input from the public, you obviously gonna try to promote things here and get people involved, so it's not like we're picking this committee today or tomorrow, correct?
Okay, I'd say if you guys want to have a work session next week, let's just do that. And then in the meantime, I can ask Laura, just to make,
I mean, I just sat and thought about, and made a few phone calls and asked who you think would be interested or involved, in such an operation before. It's not like we're reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
It's been done.
well, we haven't ever done it, not on the comp plan.
We got 3 of them in the county that's been done and
True.
we've got contacts who,
True,
So I would say, yeah, we should probably have a work session.
okay,
Yes, ma'am.
My question is, I know that the last time that we had the opioid work session, I put it in my calendar that we were gonna have a work session next Tuesday for that.
Okay,
Is that still necessary?
um,
I put 11 o'clock for the opioid meeting next Tuesday.
I guess I have, I guess what's everybody's thoughts about that? I've read a lot of different information that come out of that meeting, and I've read kind of what Dubuque County's doing. They're gonna hire somebody to take care of it. I don't know that that's necessary, but I think we have good input from the hospital, law enforcement. It's a matter of getting together again with them, I suppose. Prioritizing.
So did you put it in your schedule for, I guess that's maybe.
I don't
maybe
I don't put them work sessions in there. I just thought they were probably down on.
I mean, if they're intending on coming back next Tuesday, that's what I'm saying.
Luann, do you have one scheduled for next week?
This is the first I've heard of it.
She wasn't here that day.
Okay,
That's no excuse.
Apparently not.
well, I guess it's a matter of how much we have on the
Later
agenda.
than next week.
I would say at this point, we should have a work session for the comprehensive.
I mean, we were around dates, but because I think we had talked about a later time, but I will be on the road to going to
I think-
ISAC.
Right,
I know there was
And they were-
ISAC and some other things going on.
and they were gonna be at their thing, so that's why I'm wanting to say it was like the 8th,
Yeah.
but. I don't know for sure.
So let's have a work session on the first for the comprehensive.
Okay.
Is that okay with everyone?
Yep.
And if we see fit that we have time, you know, in the next 3 or 4 days, that we can throw another half hour in there.
One question I had
Wait,
is,
you gotta
as I was coming up with my list.
Yes, sir.
There is somebody that I think would be very beneficial. They serve the west part of Jackson County, and pretty much everything they do is in Jackson County.
Sure.
But their house is about a mile west of Jackson County, but a lot of what they farm is in Jackson. He said he'd be willing to do it, and he serves like, he's on several ag committees and stuff. He can represent the west. He said he'd be willing, just he technically doesn't actually reside in Jackson County,
He is a property owner in Jackson County.
or at least renter. You know.
Oh, excuse me. That would be your call. So between the board, if you guys think that's a viable person that you want to see, yeah, I mean, it's your call.
Okay.
I don't.
Well, I don't know if you, I mean, you own property in Jackson County, pay taxes and you're a part of the community or active in the community. I don't know.
About 98% of his business is.
There's nothing in our statute that says you have to live there to be on this committee. This is just a committee.
Right. Right, because it's not
We could
anything.
invite a state senator or something, you know, I mean, it's not.
Well,
like-
and where you were talking about the DOT, I mean. If you got somebody from the region office, you. Probably won't be a
You
Jackson
know,
County
with the
resident.
transportation thing all, again, a part of it, part of the piece of the puzzle. Do we have somebody from secondary roads also on the committee, you know?
Yeah.
so-
And after we talked about that, you guys had mentioned, yeah, maybe it's better to have somebody that's boots on the ground. That was one of the names that I sent
Right,
you.
right,
That was fire, north part of the county, DOT. That he said he'd be willing if you guys so decided on him. But anyway,
So I may get with you and like I said, send an email or wherever it may be and just throw some names out there, and then we can make a list and
Sure.
if you guys got names, we can make a list and we can certainly.
or if you guys want to email Mike and I your list and we can. Yeah, and then maybe we can go further next week
Mhm.
if we have it.
Be
weeded-
prepared a little bit,
weeded
yeah.
down. Okay,
I mean, I don't want to throw names out there without asking somebody or,
Good idea.
you know, I mean, I'm not putting somebody on the spot. at this
Right.
point.
Yeah.
Feel like they have to, 'cause-
okay.
Chicken.
You are.
Okay, so we have steering committee crossed off. The survey that Laura presented to you guys, did you guys have any changes that you wanted made to that, or is it ready to roll?
I thought it was pretty thorough, actually.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
I like, there's a lot of variety of questions on there and input. I mean, they're willing, have the opportunity to write input if they so desire. So, yeah, I
Absolutely.
like it, yeah.
absolutely. So if they have their bugs worked out, hopefully we can get some business cards with their QR code printed yet today for the parade tonight.
Okay.
So a lot of ifs, but the goal that we have in place, well, I kind of like, yeah, let's do it. Is to make this the best survey recipient, you know, the most amount of surveys they've ever received in a short amount of time. So quality surveys.
Well, they gotta be interested or they're not gonna do it anyway. And then,
Right.
and then if they do
Yeah.
it, they do it, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
we
we're gonna
we
try.
Try.
We're gonna try,
Yeah.
and we're gonna try well. So anyway, we have that covered.
90 today, just so you know,
Okay,
90 degrees.
92 during the parade.
we'll walk on the shady side. People on the east side of the street aren't
Ruth
gonna
walks
get.
all the time about 6 o'clock at night, so the heat must not bother her very much.
So
Hard
anyway,
like that.
are we ready to move on to leisure?
Yep.
Lake?
Yeah.
All right, so we have two that are on today's agenda and two that kept coming today, but we'll hold off on those until next Tuesday that are asking for reconsideration of the timing. So the first one on here is Chris Allen. And he has made some progress. He's waiting for some help as far as skid loader equipment to get some of the heavy stuff out. So he's asking for a 30-day extension.
He expires the end of July. So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion second to give Mr. Chris Allen a 30-day extension for abatement, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay, motion carried.
That's the easiest one you guys have ever.
Well, I mean, we kind of established a,
If we're making progress, I
yeah.
don't want a 30-day extension because I haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, got ya.
But if you're doing something,
And there's
picking up
progress.
the stuff you can pick up, if you're waiting on equipment, that's a little bit different,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, and then, same thing going on with Bishop. He is asking for a 30-day extension. And
Has anybody seen that? Has he done anything? Cause when I went by there.
he's gotten rid of some of the small stuff,
It
or
does
has
not
it,
look like he
and
did
then
anything.
too, just so you guys know, I know you
are these
guys,
new?
no,
This
that's
one's
still the
been
old
up
ones,
there.
still the old pictures. And I'm just taking his word for that he's made progress.
Well, before our last meeting, I went by and it did not look like he made.
I would
any
agree.
progress.
So, the one thing he is working on right now and hopes to have done soon, if not already, the campers that are out there, they're all movable. They're all usable, he says. So the ones that are functional, he plans on, they're gonna be registered or are registered. So, and if it's a registered vehicle, it's kind of, you know, as long as it's operable, it's not sitting there with flat tires and stuff like that. If it's registered, I think that's out of our hands, as long as it's not a nuisance as it sits.
Okay, so what's the time frame for that to be?
I recommend 30 days and, you know, check for progress again, should he ask.
Okay, and we have not extended this one previously, correct?
We've talked about it. And,
But we have not.
right,
All right, well, I would give him the benefit of the doubt also, I would think, as the rest of them, but again, if we don't see progress.
okay, got
And
it.
that means like they
The
can't be
dozers come.
sunk in the mud and.
Yeah.
You walked out there and hooked up to it, you gotta be able to move it.
Absolutely,
So this would be till the end of August, is that what you're saying?
yes.
I'll second that.
Did I hear a motion?
Yeah.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve a 30-day extension to Mr. Kurt Bischoff as presented. All those in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, nay, motion carried.
And just so you know, I did get another phone call yesterday from Leisure Lake, thanking you guys for what's happening out there.
Well, you know, the email we got from the other person, I can't remember the name, but they did a lot of cleanup with the boats and the trailers and the move stuff. They took 3 cars to the junkyard and
Oh, sure, yeah, I get a lot of emails from Leisure Lake on different things, so I
well,
had,
they
it took me a
actually
minute.
took 3 vehicles
Yeah.
to the junkyard.
Yeah,
They made an effort, yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, that's awesome, and that was one of those where they got that little courtesy, hey, you guys.
Right.
When they likely shouldn't have,
Right,
so, but I
that was the one
think,
that was asking why.
yeah, I think we got that taken care of and smooth over, I didn't hear back from her, and that's one of the things, we're not out there every day. We can't even get out there once a week, so we're taking maybe information that's a week or 2 old or 2 weeks plus old and running with that, so. Anyway, we're working diligently on getting information out about the comprehensive plan, or will be working diligently. We have a list of different events on weekends that we can like pop in and, you know. And then 2, I'd be more than happy to provide you guys each with business cards that'll have a QR code. So if you're out shaking hands and kissing babies at pancake breakfast, you can hand them out. Yes, you will. So we'll do our best to get you some cards, okay?
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you can get us maybe the names of the one, email us the names of the other requests that you got.
They're already in Luann's inbox.
Okay.
One other thing, I'm sorry. We did have a Board of Adjustment meeting last night. You guys should have in your inbox the report of the Board of Adjustment decisions sitting there for you guys. If you have any questions, let us know. Okay.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks.
Does anyone else have any reports on boards or commissions? They'd like to present at this time? I was gonna say, I did make it down to the open house at the Together We Build, very nice looking building and gonna be very nice improvement for the extension. And, you know, the committees and for educational seminars and whatnot in that building, so.
Been
Nice.
along well.
Had a nice presentation there around 3:15 or so that I happened to get in on, so.
I was there about 2 o'clock and, 1:30. It was neat. It's nice
Yeah.
to see it coming together. They're gonna try to showcase it during the fair, doing some tours during the day so everybody can see it. They're in the final stretches of the fundraising. Got a couple things going on to help with that, so, make sure you support it.
Other than that, I don't really have any other committees.
Lisa probably touch on ours. My one I had.
Well, with seeing the east coming in. And being that the river is getting horrifically low.
3.7 I seen this
That is
morning.
amazing.
Do we ever?
2 months ago, we went to,
Do we ever
22
see
feet.
about cleaning those docks out early to get back to doing that retaining wall, because the boating is,
I guess that's a Nathan question. He's gonna be here shortly.
you know, cause it has to be a lot easier right now. Cause you know.
Yeah.
I talked to somebody.
you
who's
don't
up
know
on Prairie
what
Seas.
jobs if he's out on some other job right now too.
I know, but. Talking to somebody who's up in Prairie Seas and they were like, the Mississippi, he calls it horrific. The what you see and how the grass is growing into the channel. And so,
Okay, any other reports? We'll take a.
I did message out, the opioid is set scheduled for the first, as Lisa said, so I don't know if we wanna see if they can bump that or what for a work session.
I guess I don't know what else is all on the agenda for the first.
well, have we received anything other than, the only thing we really got is the 25 request for funding would be the school funding, which was $2,500, which seems like a no-brainer. And then what, Chief Deputy Crocker put together. Other than that, I mean, what are we gonna discuss in that meeting?
So, from what I could tell, what Crocker had put together and some of the stuff, the bullets that Julie had, there was a lot of overlap. In programs or such, so I guess somebody needs to go. Maybe smarter than me to say, does this overlap with what law enforcement's trying to do and what Julie is wanting, or the hospital, or, you know, I don't know, somebody has to. Prioritize, if it will, or dissect, you know, what's an overlap and say, here, this is the programs we need. Yeah, if you read through Crocker's, it definitely overlap with some of the stuff that's on the green page, so.
See, that's where the only request that we got, where they wanted to do, train people in the schools, and that was like $2,500. You know, train a person. And then what we got from Crocker. And so,
You know, obviously, I think the Narcan is that.
Narcan.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously wanna supply ourselves with that, correct?
but they said they got that,
Well, they said there's programs available where you already can get that.
yeah. So,
Well, we don't wanna certainly spend the money on something we don't need to spend money on. So, yeah, maybe even just a brief. If it's a short work session, you know, if we invite them again and see where we're at, where we're overlapping, like, at least kind of keep moving with it anyway, see where we wanna go with it.
and the comprehensive plan, is that gonna be a shorter one? That work session, I mean, we could do it like 8:30, and then we could leave the,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. I mean, if we're not finished in a half hour, then we can pick it up after the work session,
Right,
right?
you have to be done by 9 for the public hearing is all.
Yeah.
There's not that much on there, we should be done by. What I have on there now.
I mean, at this time, I think the comprehensive plan is set. Other than us picking our committee,
Getting our
Yeah.
people.
you know, we got the baseline of what's next, you know.
I still think, are we good with getting McCoken and pick somebody, Bellevue, Preston, having their representative with their comp plan knowledge,
We try to do that, yes,
and
and
then
that's what.
find somebody from Sebula, somebody from up north, somebody from
And
out
I've
west.
got some names on there that, you know, like I said, I have it, if everybody's okay, then we'll make
You got
contact.
some names going that way.
I do.
Area, good.
Yeah. And then, I think there should be somebody from the conservation on there because they have a good idea of what trails and things, because this is trying to tie trails in and all that, and that's a component of it.
Okay, I guess that's a good thing. Maybe we can all get our list to her early and
Yep.
we can kind of say what they do or where they're from and. All right, I guess this time we'll take a short recess again. Again, we will reconvene at this time and we were joined by Nathan Jones, our conservation.
Morning.
Morning, guys.
What's it, director? No?
Yeah, I think that's.
Morning, Nate.
Um,
Nate's here for an update.
quick update, we had our board meeting last week, we met on Ozark Wildlife Area, toured out there with the board and Nin joined us. Looking at some of the prairie work, that's why I'm actually wearing a t-shirt, because I'm heading there right now to chainsaw after this meeting with the Conservation Corps. I got hired this week, not the best weather, but we'll see how out of shape I really am. But then we went and met after that. Kind of looked at the overview of the trail from Macoka out to Prairie Creek for the Destination Iowa thing. I emailed that to you guys yesterday. Hopefully you got it. Kind of plain Jane right now. But it at least shows where things will lay for you guys. If you have concerns, so let me know so we can change them up as we go. Or hear concerns of where it lays too. Some of the neighbors might, if they get out there. But there wasn't much talk in that meeting. Of anything more, it was more talk on conservation practices within our areas, how we get these things done, things go forward. A couple board members brought up, and I don't know how this is gonna go over with you guys, and I think it's discussion to have in the future, how we move around employees, maybe and create a new position in the future if we ever have funding as a county, as we grow, to get some of this work done. That was just kind of, so after that meeting, it kind of was brought to, let's have a couple of our board members talk. Is this something they really want to look at in direction wise before we dig into it too far? So it was kind of a quick meeting. I don't know if I'm missing anything then.
No, I think.
That was kind of the gist of the meeting, and so I'm gonna leave it kind of open for you guys if you have questions for me. Right now, I hear there's maybe a few planning committees going on that you guys might have questions from
Well,
Lori.
the one is the comp plan.
And that's,
What's that?
that was the first I heard of it was yesterday, so.
Okay, and it's a comprehensive plan looking at roads and trails and, you
Yep.
know, housing and all this stuff. And we were curious to see if you knew of somebody, and it doesn't have to be you or, you know, on the board that has an idea, a good gist of the trails and things and how they could be potentially tied together in the future, because this is looking 20 years out.
20 years out.
And it would be nice to have a designated representative
Yeah,
with that perspective on the comp plan. It's like three
Three
meetings,
meetings.
kind of what they're
3 or 4
talking about.
meetings,
Within
yeah.
the next
nothing-
year,
Maybe throw
basically,
one in here or something there and there.
I'd like to say we have a board member, but I think we have 5 different board members with 5 different viewpoints on the.
Well, and
future.
it doesn't even have to be a board
So,
member, maybe just somebody.
Maybe
that
me
would-
or a staff member would
Right.
probably be willing to
would
sit in on
represent.
it to represent us, because there is. I mean, when I've started putting it's just a 5-year plan together of what direction we're going and. I've always
Yeah, I think
questioned,
that's
where,
good,
how
yeah,
far do we
right.
grow?
Right,
and
How
it-
much
it's,
can we afford to grow?
you
I
know,
think,
And what is our
Right.
goals as a department? So
So
it'd be
you say
cool.
one of your board members on the committee already, so it's not like you're gonna.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what
I mean, Lori's
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah, So,
part of this, so yeah, I think somebody from your staff or yourself would be great.
yep, so that's fine with me, just
Okay,
know when they're kind of looking at.
well, we'll put your name down.
That's fine, that's fine. As we get
Nathan
to-
Jones.
I mean, you know what I'm saying is you
Yeah.
have you have somewhat of a
We got something
plan.
Going,
Yep.
so it'd be good to bring that forward
Yep,
with
yep.
this.
And then another thing I had was. I just looked at the river levels, the Mississippi and Bellevue is at 3.62 right now.
Yes.
At some point with that Spruce Creek retention wall, do we get to the point where we can kind of? It would be really easy
I know,
to work on right now, and there's gotta be quite a few boats that aren't in the,
yeah, I don't know,
boats actually getting to the point where it's
They-
just almost kind of.
they're putting their boats in and out of there some. I don't know, is it political depth to us if we start shutting some of those docks down and let them keep working?
Well, what's gonna happen is they're gonna want their money back or something, you know.
Yes,
Especially since they
And to
get
be
this time
honest,
and they
when
got
are they
money,
scheduled to go
Yeah.
back at it?
well, into October would be when the leases on those docks are up for the summer. I don't see the river coming up
I don't see
between
the
now
river
and
coming
then
up too fast,
probably,
yeah.
but you know how it is, Don.
Yeah,
All it takes is a couple
A good
rains.
yeah.
The world changes pretty quick. I know where.
What would it do financially if you decided, okay, maybe we look about, okay, everybody out
a month early,
after Labor Day, you know?
yeah,
so We could get in there.
and that was something I've thought about, and I think I don't quote me on the exact cost, but I think it's like $2.75 a day is what our actual cost is per, if you divide the season out. Something right in there, $2 to $3 a day is what it would be, so, 88 docks or 88 slips, but only 40 of them would be
On the-
affected,
On the south side. yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Even if you designated some.
And is another month gonna make a difference?
Yeah,
It did this year.
it would have,
Well, in the spring, yeah.
In the springtime, yeah, but in the.
I mean,
fall,
that
it's
didn't hold us up as much as the permit held us up.
Yeah.
I want the permit to expire.
Yeah,
So I
that's-
don't-
that's,
And I'm just thinking right now,
I know where you're coming from, I've
it's,
been,
they can almost stand on both
Isn't it-
sides of the wall.
we made that decision and all of a sudden the river bottom dropped out
Right.
pretty much. And it's like, god dang it, it just kept them working and
Oh.
we had the best conditions possible, I don't
You
know.
know,
Well, you can't predict.
It's something maybe I bring up to the board next month and we still can get a month early, maybe if we send them out a letter saying.
Well, I would touch base with him and see what his schedule looks like too.
Yeah,
Know where he's at. work.
yeah, since we
When
kind of
it's
told them we're putting them off till in October. But that might be something that would be good to get them going again if we could. And I don't know about since we only have 4 slips on transient docks, how do you let, if you're telling 40 docks, yeah, say first come, first served for those 4, or
Yeah.
but then they're out on the beach and they come back and somebody pulled into the dock that they were planning on using, they don't have the trailer or something.
Right.
That's a question mark. Yeah, I think. I guess I'll bring that up, Harper, again, I'll put it on our next board meeting.
well, I just think it'd be something to think, because we don't wanna,
Yeah, we don't wanna miss the opportunity to keep
at
them.
the rate we're going, we could get, all of a sudden, moisture comes in the way of snow, and he's out there and it's freezing and all that stuff in November, and it gets shut down, and we don't wanna lose next year, so.
Yeah.
This year kind of sucks.
It would be a good way to
It would be,
promote it that hopefully if we can get this completed, then we're not postponing.
Yeah, the following year,
Or
yeah,
if it would
you
be
know, so
flooding.
that's my only thing,
Yeah.
is there a way
and I don't think we'd be out too much money, it wouldn't add up.
it wouldn't hurt your budget or anything, or?
Well, it's in the revenue for you guys and which,
There's
I think-
78,000 remaining on our ARPA funds.
okay, yeah. You knew the number up, I knew it was like, I was gonna go 80,000, so I was wrong.
But
I will tell you that it's approximately $78,282.25.
You're quick. on that.
Approximately, it's just approximately.
So,
so,
Might be
but that is
26.
just something I've been thinking about.
yeah,
You're you're talking about the 400 that we.
yeah, you budgeted,
You're
but,
So we
but it's bid, That's what. was-
Right.
What we did is we took the bid of the
Yeah.
343,000.
Yep. So, yep,
And,
Okay,
and just send an email out, just let us know what
Yeah.
you're thinking and when does that permit actually expire? Or is it just when the project is done
that,
kind of
I
thing?
think I wrote it as a 2-year, just to try to cover in case something ever happened. I hope so, so.
What's
Um,
happening?
But, yeah, permits are gonna be, I just had an email worried about us permitting those trails at Great Creek from one of our staff members, so. Yeah, I don't want to hold it up at all, so.
I think it'd be better. This year's kind of trashed in a way. It was a late start.
Yeah,
It's really dry. There's not, I mean,
well,
you know, is that channel, does that ever, will it get low enough you'll need to dredge it out, or is it?
that's been a question, I don't know. Since the last time dredging it, if it's filled in that much from the last few floods. I haven't had plates yet, but I'm worried that they're gonna come, if it ever drops much. Some of those boats take some water to float,
Mm-hmm.
but.
Well, 3.6 has gotta be getting close to about.
I would-
It's pretty close to record low.
I'd hope that's about flat line for the river. I mean, what they
Tell
call
me what
flat
that
pool.
means, 3'6", where?
There's a gauge on the dam that
I
they,
get it, but what is the channel compared, what are you measuring?
well, they have to maintain a 12-foot
The
channel.
channel,
It's the core designated,
I thought it was not.
well, 9 foot is what the minimum they can get. They call it the 12-foot navigation channel is my understanding. So
so where are we measuring 3'6"?
somewhere on the dam.
Everywhere
And I'm
else?
not- Yeah, I'm not a hydrologist. I don't know where.
If you don't stay in the channel, you could
It's
be.
it's just a spot they have a set
Is that
gauge.
really-
You better know where the wing dams are. You better know where the
You
stumps
better
are.
know where that tree got left hung up at from the
You're
flooding.
getting the Galena.
Yeah, you're not getting the Galena going up the river right now. I wouldn't think, maybe with the mud motor.
I was gonna say, my daughter walked through for the first time last weekend and went down.
Yeah, like I say, I think the channels, you're safe in the channel,
Channel.
just getting to and from the
Yeah.
channel.
Those
Is
are
where that
the-
3'6", so.
for the navigation, yeah.
Will get you, because again, with that flooding and everything we had, everything changed over this. spring.
Yeah, all the stump fields show up and the new sandbars are. We'll start hearing about people stranded on the river.
Sure.
So, but yeah, that is a good question, and I've been afraid to. I don't know, is it the death of us?
Well, I mean,
Take
talk
away
about
from
it anyway and talk to your contractor and see where he's at and what his schedule looks like. So that kind of gives us an
Check with them to see
idea.
if it's even a possibility.
Yeah. So,
Before we
All right.
stir too many pots.
but yeah, that's kind of,
Anything else? I see, the Seltzer property was transferred.
yeah, that's transferred. Not much else is moving. We had core inspections yesterday, so. I'll get my letters of. Where we're out of code with the core probably in the next few weeks, I'm sure. For Spruce Creek and Seville, we always have something that they find. I think
Your
that's-
trees again.
Yeah, and they won't seem to give me a solid answer. They don't wanna. You know how that is, those trees on,
Somebody told me yesterday that they give you. Takes 6 months for them to review it and a month for you to correct it.
yeah. Well, and they don't wanna take on any liability. Our insurance is supposed to be getting me some stuff back at some point, a letter maybe we could put together for them, but. The liability thing is just the, how do you?
Right.
Judge it and figure out, so that issue hasn't solved anything. I brought it up with core inspectors yesterday, trying to give it back to them. That section, they didn't really respond to me, but, so. Yeah, we'll see where we stand here in a week or two when I get some letters back from the core. Some stuff, so.
Appreciate the update.
That's about all I have for you guys.
All right, keep us posted.
Yep,
Stay cool, be safe.
yep.
All right, Elizabeth. Our public health. Administrator,
Something like that.
something like that,
Do you guys want paper?
do we have one here in the Department of Health?
Got this.
Got that. Okay, perfect. All right.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's hot out.
Is
It's
it?
getting hotter.
Okay, so, for my report for July 18th, we did renew our grants to counties grant that started July 1. We're gonna be offering the arsenic testing, which I'm already doing those. I ordered 100 bottles for that, so those do cost more money and this and that, so it'll lessen the number of people that we can do, our bacteria testing for overall. By the way, I don't like doing those tests because they actually have a chemical in them that kind of like splashes on you and burns. But anyway, we're gonna do those. So, and then we're also putting a lot of emphasis on the well rehabilitation. So those are any wells that need to be brought a foot above grade or need a new cap on them. Usually those are the ones that test positive for bacteria. Just kind of an iris update. And actually this is kind of, there's more stuff coming, but they have a meeting tomorrow. Nan will be there. I'll be attending via Zoom. So the Dressler Water Project, they did get a bid from, OnStar Construction from Farley, that they accepted. The board has submitted documents to the USDA for final approval, and once accepted, a pre-construction meeting will be held. I know they're hoping to get everything kind of moving as soon as possible. And then the Leisure Lake Sewer System, so we did kind of talk to the Iris board about the concerns we had out there, just regulating, monitoring all that's going on with the grinders. They basically said we can go ahead and make changes, it's up to us. But my thought would be, instead of making changes to that resolution 100 or adopting a new resolution, that we would just work on our county ordinance and updating that at the same time and integrating what needs to be changed there into our ordinance. If that makes sense. So I'm not really sure what we're gonna do, but maybe just to simplify it. The resolution 100 is pretty lengthy and can be confusing and doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's I'm hoping to create a document that's easier for everybody to understand.
We're open to recommendations, so I'll take a look at it.
Yeah. And then I'm working on an annual training for our licensed septic installers. Per our ordinance, I am required to do that once a year. We did one last year. I'm gonna be doing another one this year, and it's just gonna be focusing on do's and don'ts for installation, focusing on our ordinance, because it seems like they've kind of lost the idea of what they should and shouldn't be
You
doing.
had good participation for that, or?
So last year I didn't make it mandatory and we didn't have a good outcome. This year, my plan is to make it mandatory, and whoever does not attend, they would not be eligible for renewal next year on their license, because they are required to have that continuing
I agree with
education.
you.
And that's something that will be put into our ordinance changes as well. And then our Iowa Administrative Code, Chapter 69. I had a phone call with Corey Frank. He's the head of the onsite wastewater division, and they're making changes to the code. There's gonna be a meeting this fall for sanitarians to have their input on the changes. But based on my discussion with Corey, it's gonna be more clear language, and they're gonna be talking about like maintenance on some of these alternative septic systems. 2 months ago, we sent out letters to everybody that should have a maintenance agreement, and we only got 2 people responded back. So basically, when they go to do a time of transfer, if they don't have that maintenance agreement, they're going to fail that inspection. So at that point, they would have to come up with that anyway for us, so. And then our onsite, or sorry, our septic pumper program, so we did renew our contract with them. They changed it from a 3-year to a 1-year. And they did lessen the vehicle inspection.
When you say a
reimbursement.
3-year to,
Sorry, that used to be a 1-year, so
Yeah.
you get a thing, and now they made it a 3.
okay, so this course that you're requiring them to take, is that gonna be a 3-year thing then? You said.
So this is for the pumpers.
Okay,
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's through
so
the
that's
DNR.
completely different from the install.
Yeah, they get their license through the DNR, and then they contract with the counties to do the inspection on all of that, so. And then we get reimbursed for it.
And that's something that you're doing now too, correct?
Yeah, it's really once a year I do the truck inspection and then I'm supposed to go out and, check the sites
Right.
where they're land applying.
I remember
and
the
stuff.
last time you were here, you did that, yeah.
Yeah. So there were some changes to that. And then you guys already know about geo permits. Let's see, so septic permits year to date, we've got 24, we've got 12 well permits, 1 geothermal well permit. I did 7 soil tests through the program that we're doing for the county. We did 163 water tests, 4 well rehabilitations. We've had 21 animal bite cases. I did 1 time of transfer inspection so far for myself, or not for myself, but through the county program. 27 time of transfer reports total, and then we've got 2 binding agreements. So it's definitely slower on the well and septic side of things. The last couple years, right now, we probably would have had about 60 permits out. So things have slowed down.
Playing a big role in that.
Yeah, but,
Cost and interest rates are playing a big role in that.
yeah, people are still building. I mean, we have new
Yeah.
builds and things like that. And, we've got things worked out with the zoning office and my office. We're really looking forward to getting the geo permitting though. So I think that will do a lot of good things. And
Well, we appreciate it, the report anyway, and if there's any issues, I guess, are there any questions for Elizabeth?
Just, if you see anything out there on like grants or anything for like supposedly our sheriff's department has nothing for catching animals. Like the loop.
so, it's funny you mentioned that. So I am, one of the reasons I'm really looking forward to the geo permitting is because I would like to do an animal licensing program for the county. My hope is that eventually we could use the funds that we would get from that program to hire a part-time or on-call animal control employee that would be able to go out and deal with some of these issues. And then, the municipalities, if they want to contract with the county for those services, that we could provide that. But yeah, I can definitely
I
look.
mean, if just when you're getting emails or reading through things or talking
Yeah.
to people.
I mean, we're really not equipped. Nobody really is. We don't even have like a proper vehicle to pick up animals. A lot of the time the deputies, throw them in the back of their car and
Right.
it's not ideal. But yeah, I would really
I mean,
love
just
to.
something to keep in the back of your
Yeah.
mind if you see anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure, yeah, I mean, it's certainly want to improve our.
I had a animal licensing ordinance for how.
So I implemented a really good program when I worked for Joe Davies County. It's still up and going. I took that program on with $0. And we turned it around and I mean, the first year we had almost $100,000 in revenue. We had 3 full-time animal control employees. It was really, it's still up and going and successful. So yeah, I would be excited to do it as long as it doesn't make people mad.
Well,
To me, I mean, you take the city of Macoka's one, it saves, you register your dog for whatever the fee is. Your dog gets out the door on you. Versus spending the 65 or 85 or whatever it is to get them back from the pound.
Yeah, so we actually had a random phone call from a woman who wanted to license her dog. She lives in the county, wanted to license her dog, so I think people are moving in maybe from out, other areas where they do require that. So it would just be a matter of working with vet clinics to, process those rabies tags through us or whoever we decide to do that through. It sounds like the geo permitting, we really do it through that.
Good.
yeah, that'd be a positive, I mean, obviously, I think that's where we're going at some point, and you have to have registered, I
Yeah,
would think, I mean, that's.
it just makes it easier for everybody, honestly.
Oh, yeah, then
Yeah.
we know who's who's.
Yeah.
Okay, if you need anything, let us know, I guess.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Hey, cool.
Right.
All right. We're just about right on time here. We have Mr. John Hanson, and is Jeremy available also, or just you, John?
Just me,
All right.
Jeremy working and,
Got it, boy.
you know,
John here is from Midwest Construction Consultants, of course, and he's our construction manager for the law center.
yep.
Good morning.
Good morning. Just here to give you a kind of an update of where we're at right now. Metal studs are pretty well completed, framing's pretty well completed in administration. Masons are moving rather quickly. Hope to get the east and west cell blocks done so that KE can start the mezzanine, pouring the concrete mezzanines. That way we can get rooftop units and such set. Clocky's out there tying in sanitary, or start sanitary, he'll finish it tomorrow. Then they're gonna start in the parking lot and grading over there. So on the front, on the south side, so that we can get that poured, it'll look a lot different if we get it cleaned up, in my opinion, and plus it will allow us to let it cure out, so.
You gotta do that east slope before he does the parking lots, or is that after?
We're over there coordinating that with K&E and with Clocky. We want to try to give K&E half of the parking lot, the west half. And then they're gonna be working on the slope at the same time, so they want to get that slope cut, and I want to leave it open down at the bottom so we can get it cleaned up and graded and not get the rock all dirty, so. They thought they'd have about a week in there, Don, a week and a half. And they probably won't start till next week. They're gonna get that sanitary done, and then next week they'll get started. And we're just trying to get K&E and Clocky coordinated to get that done.
I don't know what kind of slope that is. If you go by there and look, you know, I mean, the slope to the north of that, above AJ's property. I don't know, what is that, a 3 or 6 or whatever it is, but it's not that steep that you can't mow that. I mean, that's.
I know, yeah. So, yeah, we're not gonna try to cut it too much, but
Right.
you know, we wanna get it graded.
Right.
All that water's coming off that roof of that building and everything and off that parking lot there. So we wanna try to create, you know, kind of a swale on top to get it down and around the building. So we've just been working with Clocky and they got a plan. So.
Yeah, okay. I guess I know we're under construction, of course, and there's construction zone. I have had a few comments that says, boy, it's messy around there, you know, just stuff laying around, pallets and whatever it may be. If the weeds are growing, I guess I don't know what that all entails for. just
That's
picking
what I
up,
was looking
cleaning up a
at
little
this
bit.
morning, and weeds in the front are pretty tall, it's on dirt. So I wanna get that dirt moved out of there, and they're gonna start on that next week, so. I think what looks bad is the front portion. of
Well,
it.
even on the north side of our utility building, you know, I mean, I know there was a lot of stuff there and stored there. I mean, maybe it's been picked up some too, but. I know just
It's
stuff laying
been
around.
picked up because the only
Okay.
thing on the north side of the building would be about 4 bundles of insulation. And if the roofer doesn't reach it, the guy from Habitat for Humanity stopped down and they'd like to have it, so I'm checking with Kiesler, and if he wants it, then he can get it out of there and we'll get it cleaned up.
Yeah, well.
And we gotta
need it.
clean up all that stuff on that side because Clocky's gotta come all the
Right.
way down through there.
Right,
So that will all happen next week. And
Okay.
then, you know, masons, they gotta be able to sling mud 40 foot in there in one direction and throw shit all over the place, so. You know, they need to get it cleaned
Yeah.
up, so.
no, I mean.
So when you say have it, that insulation, or they can buy it, or is it?
No, if they don't, if the roofers just, you know, a lot of times they'll just throw that stuff away, which is insane, but. If they don't want it, then I'll just have the Habitat for Humanity pick it up.
So it's not something we can return or reimburse or anything like that, though. It's contracted. They
yeah,
bought it.
Yeah, they bought it. They just bought access and a lot. A
So, yeah, so.
lot of
I
times
mean,
it costs them more to move it back than just to get rid of it, so.
I was down, stopped, talked to Jeremy last week a little bit down there and, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in that building. A lot of door frames and doors or windows that are getting welded together, is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I they came in two pieces because they're easier to put up, but then they wanted to put them up in one piece, so they started welding them together. You could weld them in place or weld them in the shop, and they're wanting to weld them in the shop. It's emptying out. They gotta get some more, Bill Bruce needs to get some more labor over there. Get them doors all set, because we gotta start securing that facility with the amount of copper and stuff that's going on. Or it will disappear in a heartbeat.
I see there's a
Yeah,
light on it. Is that on purpose or?
Yeah, so again, we can see people moving around in there, and there's a lot of copper and everything else. And once we start pulling them copper mains in for the electrical, then, you're gonna wanna
Yeah.
get it secured up. So that's what we talked about, is getting it secured up,
I was stopped at the open house at the extension building Sunday, and then I drove my wife over to see the facility, and it's pretty easy to walk through there at this point.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Jeremy's been sweeping it up, but the contractor's driving nuts, they need to clean up after themselves too. But yeah.
Questioning, do we need to be fencing around?
You know what?
I know
Everything-
it's more of a pain, but I know like for the extension with the fair going on and that. Insurance kind of told them if you got at least making a fence to try to keep people out. It's a lot easier if something happens than you're leaving it stand wide open.
Yeah, anything you do keeps honest people honest, basically, and I'd rather have the facility just locked up.
I would too, but
Yeah.
till we can get to that point,
We should be able to get to that point if they get some help there and put some exterior doors on. Have them put plywood doors on and then lock them at night. So, it's just that you don't want to get the storefronts or something on that's going to get damaged during the course of construction. But we're getting to a point now where they need to get the windows in, and I hate to have them do work and then have to remove it. Let's get the material in, get the windows in, and get it secured up. So fencing, that'd be a hell of a lot of fencing, because there's such a big lot.
Well, and it would sure be something to work around too. It'd be tough.
Yeah.
Well, we hope that everybody's conscious of what's going on there anyway. It is a
Yeah.
construction zone, so.
Yeah, we haven't had any problems so far,
No,
but we keep some lights on and stuff, and maybe we have the sheriff go by a couple more times, during the evening, drive by it and keep an eye on it.
okay, what other updates do we have? Are we contemplating yet the completion of the upper mezzanine? Is that correct, or where are we at with that?
Yeah, I thought we were doing that in a workshop this afternoon.
We have a workshop schedule, work session schedule.
I got everything put together for it, as
Okay.
far as proposals and such that I'll be handing out, and that's what that's what we need to determine what we need to do, because we'll have to make a decision fairly soon.
How soon? How soon?
Oh, this afternoon.
Well.
No, I'm
Oh,
not,
we can't.
we can't
Well, I
make
was
it.
gonna say, if we discuss it now, we could, because it's discussion of possible action on expansion project. Now, you wait till work session later, it's next week.
Yeah, I was looking towards next week, because I think there's some things that probably need to sort out, make sure that where the money's coming from. Or do you want to discuss it right now?
it's up to the board.
It doesn't matter to me. We can discuss it. I mean, it's not like, the work sessions are open to the public also, so it's not like.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Lost my thing.
You get one of these strings, you tie it around your neck.
Yeah, I
and
get it.
Put it through your sleeves and.
Yeah.
We'll track it by the closer you get.
What we did is I made up this sheet, and it's made up of outstanding items that we have, items that we need to purchase. And then the mezzanine cost. Hmm. So I sent out RFPs and got proposals. Right now, we have a couple of outstanding change orders. One is change order 2-1. For security electronic and frame changes. This was done a while ago. And you've done a copy yesterday. It just gives you a description of all the items that were either added or modified in the project. It added cameras to some areas, changed some door frames to electric locks. Added card readers in certain locations and stuff to accommodate operations. And that was for $40,180. So I have that change order that we'll need to approve. And I also have a change order to Kraus Plumbing and Heating. Or Kraus Plumbing.
So I guess first, well, in the first change order, is this something that we changed to add more cameras or door frames, or it wasn't not in the original bid, or what is that?
Yeah, it wasn't the original bid. If you go to the second and third page, there's a description of it all. That's why I gave you.
I get it, John, but I'm just saying, why wasn't it in the original bid then, or what had changed, or it wasn't in the original plan?
This stuff wasn't in the original plan.
So door frames weren't in the original plan?
They were commercial doors originally. And they got changed to electronic locks, so they changed to security frame. Some of
They
them-
had to
Okay,
be changed, or they got changed just because, well, it might be nice to have them there.
It got changed just because it fit the operations, get in and out and control people getting in and out of the. It would register who went into the laundry room or into the property storage room or something by the card readers. They weren't in the original bid, they were just key block. Got changed to electronic locks and card readers.
Just for convenience?
Hmm.
Just for convenience, is that what this is, or what is this? Is
Yeah,
this
for
something that
operation.
should have been in the operation, or should have been in the original bid, or was not, or is it something that was added
It was added to it.
because of convenience?
No, for security and what they needed for operations. You just have a standard that you go by, I mean. On these doors and cameras and stuff.
And that's what I figured should have been in the original bid then, that the standards were already in the original bid.
These are additional doors to the
Okay.
original bid.
So the standard would be a commercial door.
Yeah,
This
standard,
is
with
an
this is an upgrade, yes. As far as
Brent,
security
did you guys write
electronics,
this
you're
up?
not gonna identify every little thing, you're not gonna do, but, you know, some of this stuff was deletions, some of it was additions. To the project, you know, we changed the security glazing from mirrored to. Non-mirrored because it wasn't needed. Because I put there were sliders on the doors. Different knobs for exiting purposes and stuff, which, you know, reduced some of their cost. Added some buttons to get in and out of the facility, some request to exit. Changed some of the locks. Some of the frames. I mean, there's a whole list of things here. So they're not all ads. There's deducts in there too. And there's a couple of extra cameras, so. The thing is, the dual lens cameras that were installed in some of the day rooms, we might be able to eliminate. Now that we're doing the. Expansion, if we decide to do the expansion, then we might be able to get some of that cost back too. So,
Did you guys decide to do the upgrades of these doors and stuff when you guys went through the doors, Brent? Was your recommendation?
Well, we spent 2 days going through the doors and frames and stuff, and on the original plan that came back from Des Moines, it appeared like the majority of everything was wrong, so we spent 2 days going through all that stuff. We fixed everything to what it should have been. But I guess I don't know that there would have been any additions or changes to that. That was before the doors and frames were ever made, so I mean, I would have thought that would have been set and ready to go from the initial meeting that we had, where we went through every door and frame and stuff. So initially, they were kind of all screwed up. We went through them for 2 days, got that all set right. Then,
What do you mean by screwed up?
well, they just, I don't know, that John, were you using a new company out of Des Moines or something, or?
No, it's the company that we always use. The frames were based on initial.
I guess I'm confused on if we're building a jail and we've built. A company you've always used that we've built jails with. Why would they be supplying a door that isn't appropriate?
It is,
For the
it
jail.
is appropriate, it's just that it's better system if you want an electric lock, let me put it that way, in a card reader to maintain. So, I mean, the systems were designed based on the initial, you know, back in 2 years ago, the initial input that the design team had as far as designing the facility. And these things are just things that picked up that, you know, either needed changed or mirrored glazing and stuff. I was trying to get money back out of it as well as.
So is this an upgrade from what like Delaware County has then for their doors and such?
They went back in after the fact and they wanted to add electric locks to those
So
doors.
they did.
And Henry County wanted to go back and add electric locks to their kitchen and stuff like that, and card readers for their operation. Every operation operates differently. That's some of the stuff that we incorporated into this project to make it more efficient, you know, as far as operations go. I mean, operation costs are forever, so the more that you can provide ease in operations, the less people you have to run a facility too. So this is just stuff that made the operations a little bit better for them.
Well, Delaware County did, when we toured their jail, they recommended, some of these doors that John's talking about, like the laundry room and stuff like that. They recommended putting the electronic locks in those. They didn't initially, they said that was a mistake, and they said it's much more expensive to go back and do some of that stuff, obviously. Because now you're trying to tear
Well,
back.
see,
into it.
to me, I can understand and buy off on a change order for this. When I know that initially we did it to standard,
Yeah, we did.
but through conversation with you guys, it was identified that this would be a necessary upgrade.
When you get.
Right now, it sounds like it's just, well, we just thought it would be better.
No,
You
that's
know.
not the case. Whenever you get into the standard. And you start digging into the project, you see things that might be better. And Rich McNamee that worked with you, he said that, you know, he would have preferred to have electric locks in his laundry room and this. Because they're storing personal property, and he wanted to be able to track who is in and out of that room. Every time you use your card reader, it tells you who is in that room in case something disappears. So that's the type of things that we sat down, and as we got into the operations of it, then
You
we
sat down
saw.
and decided this after the initial plan.
Yeah, after the initial bids and stuff, when we got the submittals, they have to submit everything to us to go through door by door, lock by lock. And that's where we came up with some of these designs that would ease the efficiency of the operations of the facility. And also, if we were gonna change it in the future, it would cost more to try and change it in the future. And I needed to get underground electric to these doors and everything else. So it was just part of the process that you go through. So you're not gonna have a zero change order project all the way through, and I think that we've done a tremendous job at controlling change orders, in fact, getting deducts to allow to complete some of these items on this list, so, I mean, it's a process that you go through.
How many doors and cameras are we talking about?
We deleted some cameras and according to recommendations of the electronics guys and the camera guys, we deleted some and placed them
Yeah,
others in different spots to have better coverage where we could eliminate some of their cameras.
yeah, and it came from suggestions from the security electronics people and everything else, I'd have to go through, all the doors are listed, there's probably 30.
And I thought, I guess, John, the reason I thought you had a new company, I thought you even mentioned that when we were sitting there going through those doors for 2 days, because you were even complaining about how almost every door was wrong. I mean, there might have been, I got a whole list of the doors over in the office. There might have been 3 or 4 doors that were correct out of the entire jail. That's why I thought it was a new company, because it was.
That's in the submittal, it's the different company, not the engineers are different company. The whole list is attached to the change order that you read, so. And you know, going through the door, I don't want mirrored glazing on a holding cell door that has a slider, so. I was getting a deduct for deleting the mirrored glazing, so it's a matter of going through and making sure all the doors are correct too, you know. I don't want to get in and then all of a sudden it doesn't operate correctly, so. That's the thing that I go through with the sheriff, and then we determine what we need and what would make the operations work best for them, or that, so.
That was done after the initial bids were, which necessitates the change order, or?
Well, the contractors bid the project,
Right.
and then after the project's bid and they get the materials, the company that's supplying the door frames, for instance, and hardware and electric locks and everything, they have to submit that to the contractor, who then in turn submits it to me. And then I check it and it goes to the engineers, check also, architect engineers.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, when you
It's
guys
done
went through,
after the fact, yes.
you know, because to me, it would be smarter to go through, and make sure all the doors and things are correct and what we want before it goes to bid. So people know more what you're looking for.
We went through and we initially picked up as, you know, with the sheriff and stuff, and we sat down with the architect and stuff and marked up. But you're not gonna get it 100%.
I get that.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be bidding yet.
Yeah.
Cause you're not gonna get all of this information off of the plans. You know, you're not gonna have every identified piece of mirrored glazing or something, but it's gotta be correct. When I approve it, it's gotta be correct when we put it in.
Right.
So. I mean, it's just a process that you go through. I think we've written what, two change orders on this job, maybe, and one was a deduct for $8,000. This was an ad for 2,900. So.
I think there's been what, 4?
Because I got it right here in front of me.
It's like 26,000 for a transformer, there's like 14,000 for the footings under that wall.
Yeah, the transformer, of course, is either gonna pay the city or pay the contractor. You know, that was a trade off of cost.
Well, I can argue that if you drive around Wacoma, you see where all the transformers are. Then there was no deciding on who was gonna pay what.
No, there was an $18,000 change order.
I know, but
To the
you put
city.
them by the curb, that's where they put them, every building in Wacoma is that.
Yeah. You had deduct 8,464, the 27, and then 24, 152 to Bruce Builders. You had 3 of them. So 43,000 out of 8 million, not bad.
So these doors are going in right now.
Yeah.
All right,
So we got past them in 1 and
Let's-
2. So we have those 2 change orders. I made some changes in the paving so that we could get that slope built. And estimated deduct from KE flat work for the paving changes in the range of $5,000. Clocky excavating, that was the grading to eliminate the retaining wall, additional storm, deduct for reduced building pad, grading and, that additional storm that I showed on the plans running to the storm drain. Was 29, an estimated add of $29,205.50.
Which was technically supposed to be $140,000
Yeah.
retaining wall, right?
Or better, yeah. So I mean, we came out about 120,000 to good on that so far, so. There might be a little extra rock in there, but I wouldn't figure any more than $500. I also, the SCI network wiring, I know that when I put the recommendation out, the May 15th proposal was 46,183.93. I think we added a few things in, Bjorn, but it came up to 56,593. And I think in discussions with Bjorn that we'd work with him and see, approved, not a cost not to exceed. Now, I didn't know. I had said if there's another budget to be taken out of for IT work or something, since you're doing the IT work here, that we'd take it out of a different budget, but I was given a warrant that was approved that was taken out of the project for $26,920.18. That was for the material for that, network wiring. Cause that included fiber optics to the building and everything else, and we were looking at fiber optics, I guess, outside of the project originally. But I guess it doesn't matter if it comes out of the project or out of your pocket. And then, there was a bill approved for the HVAC system for the steel building to hook up the air conditioning. That was, steel building was basically outside the project, but got coded to the project for $333.52. Currently, on the project cost recap was $9,858.33 over budget. So the total current cost without the steel was $77,113.83 that we would anticipate needing. With the steel, you add that other $56,927 for those wiring to the steel building and rest of the fiber optics. If you're adding all of that in, that brings you up to 134,040.95. So I guess it needs to be determined where we're taking that out of. Any other questions on that portion of our discussion? Is
Now, we had that email that came across, were we able to get the contractors to break out what's going for the
mezzanine?
EOC building room?
What's required to go into the EOC, you mean?
Right, cause from that one email we got, she said that some of the fiber optics and that could, if they could break out what was actually going to that room, we could maybe use some of that grant for that.
She told
And
me we
lighting.
couldn't use anything for construction originally, but. I mean, if we could. I mean, the
Well, I don't think we can do it for the walls, but did I read that wrong?
Well, that, we'd have to get, I think we need to talk to Kelly and to figure out exactly what it is, cause she was saying that nothing has been purchased as of yet out of that grant. And we need to get
Right.
proceeding, but again, there's been some gray area, kind of like with our opioid money as to far what we can and can't buy with it, so.
That last thing she sent us, she was basically wanting that broke out.
So I tried to break that out once then, and she told me we couldn't use it. For the fiber optics, cause
There
Yeah, she had asked you a specific question in that email. I don't,
She said that she's asking about the lighting for in there, the fiber optics and the door entry systems
I tried to get. I
for the
gave them-
EOC system.
Yeah.
This is just an email we got last Friday.
Okay, well, I can get that to her if we can get that out of this. I mean.
I
that
mean,
would
we might as well
cover-
get.
That
what we
was
can
covered
out of
as
there.
$40,000 probably,
Right,
That'd be nice.
because I mean, part of that was we wanted electric clocks in.
did you get that email, Friday? You were included on that.
Yeah.
It specifically
I
asked you.
just got it, but I was working on trying to get
Okay.
this proposal put together and I didn't have time because I figured. I didn't have time to look at that personally. I.
So when. Total current costs without the SCI, give me a.
That's the wiring that we ordered.
So, yeah, without the wiring, you need $77,113
Just for the project as it stands right now.
as it stands right now. Yes, that's correct. That would cover these change orders, the estimated deduct and any deducts or adds we had for Clocky excavating.
And that should be the end of it.
And do we have that included anywhere that, or would we have that contingency somewhere with the ARPA funds that we committed to the project? You know, I keep going back to thinking about our original bids, our bond was 5.9, we added 1.7 or 8 from the ARPA funds, which brings us to 7.6.
7.5.
And
yeah.
weren't the bids at 7 point? Weren't we covered completely? The total bids were 7.5, and with the ARPA funds that we had committed,
Yeah, well, we're gonna get to that.
okay?
I think
I'm
we
just
need to
saying,
look
where
at
are
the
we,
whole
where are we
picture.
standing? Yeah, where
We
is
need
it
to
gonna,
look
you're
at the
asking where it's
whole
gonna come
picture.
from, I'm trying to figure out where it's gonna come from.
Yeah, and that's what we have after I get through the other sections.
Okay.
That way.
Okay,
That way
well,
we
you
have a
just said
full
you need to make a
picture.
decision, so I was trying to make a decision, if we got other stuff to go through.
Oh, we'll make a decision.
Oh, yeah.
Like his optimism.
So outstanding equipment to purchase, I looked at the high density shelf and storage systems. Lockers for the locker rooms, evidence locker, Pacific concept, property storage bags and racks, record storage and inmate issue storage. So the primary cost of it without 2 of the sets of future carriages. For all this stuff, which, you know, we assist in purchasing this stuff, they'll go and contractor overhead markup, and typically they give us 25% off. So, primary cost without 2 sets of future carriages in the evidence room was $90,779. The cost with the future carriages included, if we did it now, would be $101,000. If we added the 2 carriages in the future, it'd be $106,130.90. So I mean, if we do it now, it results in a savings of about.
The carriage, you're talking about
The
actual
bag-
shelves that.
The roll back and forth, yeah.
So the initial one is coming with how many?
Initial one's coming. I think we had this, but I'll just go over it. The initial one comes with 1 static one and then 1, 2, 3 double carriages.
Okay, so you can access them from each side.
Yes, that's correct.
And go back and forth, they go
Yeah.
back and forth.
And they roll back and
Okay,
forth.
so is.
And then I have room
Four?
for 2 more sections here.
Okay, so are they necessary, Brent, do you think? Have you talked this over? Do we need that much?
Where we at?
The extra 2
Carry,
2 or 4? the way I'm
Shelving
looking at this,
section.
am I
It
wrong?
would be 2 that could be accessed from. These three double sided.
Hey, did we talk about some of them coming out of the
Yeah.
grant?
Just for the EOC.
And I want to add.
But then I think there was, maybe somebody's opinion was better not do that.
$5,000 each or.
Are those pass through or are they walled in the middle where it's just a cubby with a?
I mean, are you adding more racks on, or is it a whole nother?
No, it's just adding more racks on.
So you'd have the one stationary, you got 4 now, you'd be
Three.
adding 2 more,
Three now.
3 now. and
For total, we have 4 total right now.
Yeah,
The
it's
one
just,
stationary.
there's a savings if they don't have to come back a second time to do it.
And these are the rolling cabinets. for
Yeah.
the-
Yeah.
But are they
Everything's-
pass through, like you could go clear through from one side, or is there a divider in the middle?
Typically, you can have it divided, typically there's a divider in the middle, some of them are bigger. That they would be a pass through to get bigger boxes on, but they can be modified to accommodate
Okay.
whatever storage you need. They're good units, I've priced them with other people and the evidence locker we gotta have. And it's nice to have pistol racks and rifle storage, cause that's where you get a lot of your storage, so.
And they were not figured in originally?
No. No, they weren't. Cause that's stuff that we wanted to buy out and not bid. Because otherwise you'd have 10% overhead and profit on the contractor to buy it out. And plus I get a much heftier discount than most people because I work with them on other projects, so. So the bottom line is it was just less expensive to do it now if you decided
Okay, to add the 2 extra.
to add to that. There's about a $4,200 savings.
So if we added 2 extra, this is primary cost of 2 sets of features. So there's only 2 extra, not 4.
2 extra, yeah.
Ah.
There's 3 and a static shelf and then 2 extra, 2 future.
And I don't know if I got, did you answer that, Brent? You think they're needed or they're?
I hate to say it, but yeah, I would say now is probably the time to do that. You're never gonna have too much evidence storage space with all the stuff we have to keep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's probably best to do it now.
So that'd be 101,938.39 that I used as a figure there. Kitchen equipment and talking to Brenham and stuff, right now, we're looking at just a warming kitchen, so, we might need a double door refrigerator, double door freezer. 1 or 2 microwaves, a 3-base sink that's required, you're gonna have to have that. And a toaster. You might be $20,000 on that equipment there. I think that we even figured that calculating or estimating that would probably be, in the 10 to 15 range on that. There are some storage racks that, when we went over with Don, they're, in the current storage that we got from the hospital. Serving tables, I thought we saw a couple of serving tables ordered in with Don or something, and then, or if we make something work. And I don't know if that comes out of the project, sheriff's budget, capital improvements, I imagine. If it's gonna come out of the project, we have to allow for that 20,000. So those are the 2 items I know that we probably need to address. Any questions on those? I think we kind of worked that over a little bit. Alternate number 1, these are the costs that I received back. Preliminary proposals, I've been in back and forth with the contractors. But until we make a decision, I don't really, I haven't gone through, to see if we can get any additional monies out. I got some out of Bruce Builders. So I put the proposal amounts here that are current and the original bids on the opposite side. So for the general population area, it would be $124,411.08 to finish one area. One general.
That's how many bids?
6.
6, so there's 12 at these two, with 248.
Yep, yep. So if we finish both, we'd be in that range, 248, 822, 16. A lot of the contractors were able to hold their prices pretty darn close within. That you can see, I mean, fire sprinkler was $60 more. You're about $1,000 more with electrical. So, I mean,
What was the reason for Bruce Builders, Joe?
the steel stairs went up, steel went up substantially, and they had missed in their original proposal some of the. All the caulking and such that they picked up this time. So.
They missed caulking,
It's very good.
isn't that?
I put that all under the GC except for the fire caulking. Cause typically you ever see some plumbers can't caulk where it's damp. So I usually keep it under the general. So I haven't had a chance to go into it further, but I have been talking to them. So it's not gonna go up from there, let me put it that way. Alternate number 2 is on the next page. So that was gonna be $299,479.06. These are the individual cells, the maximum and minimum security, so that's why there's more cost associated to it. To do both sections, both sides, you'd be in the range of $598,958.12.
Is that, give us how many beds?
That would give you another 12. Yep, so you'd end up with 24 more total beds.
How often do you need minimum or maximum, medium or maximum security, Brent?
I guess what I've heard from most other jails is they said you can't have too many single cells. So,
I get it, but if we're talking about housing in or even something like that, we're not taking max. Medium max.
No, we're not, I'm not gonna take those kind of prisoners in, but I mean, you can still fill those with.
It gives you classification to separate individuals. So,
I get it, but somewhere along the line, we have to make a decision.
no,
The
no, I mean,
classification, you could put, if you have one woman and you put her in a gen pop, that takes up 6 beds. You could put her in one of these rooms and it takes up 1 bed versus, right?
yeah.
But there's a lot of that goes into that, you know, you're anticipating, how long am I gonna have this one female, how long, you know, it's much cheaper for me to house her somewhere else and use 6 beds for.
Well, and I'm still looking at, so
And you may house females in one too, you know, so.
if we're adding, let's just talk through this, if we're adding beds on top of the medium max cells, all you're really gaining is individual cells up there. Okay, correct, but that's individual spots, you can have, the bay part is still open, have like a day room, if you wanna call it. The bay is still open, it's in medium max cells, the difference between them and a general population cell is you have individual cells inside that pod. So there's like the day room in the common area. And then if you have to put them away, you put them in their individual cells. The general population cell doesn't have that. It's just 6, 12 beds, whatever. They're not individually locked down in that pod.
Right.
So a medium max, you add the ability to lock them down individually in those pods.
Which is why the expense is.
Well, and I want to clarify, I wouldn't have like one female in an individual cell and a medium max and males in there with them. What you do is you put all males in there. And then you can increase your capacity and your.
Well, we got special status, we have other options that we can, that you can utilize. But a lot of people are looking to house females too, but
Okay,
it's just a choice of what you want. If you have the medium max, you let them. You can get more classifications because you don't let them all into the day room at the same time if you got an individual that's special, you know, so. So then I just put some general totals. So I mean, you can do one side, you can do 2 sides of something and one of something else. But I just put in total for the West general population was 423 if you did the maximum security and the general population. I added the professional fees on site, architect engineering fees I got down from yesterday down and my fees down. And so on site 47,000. So it'd be $470,890.14 to finish off one whole side.
Okay, so that would give us
That'd give you 12.
that would give us 12, that would give us 6 in the general population, that would give us also 6 in the medium max.
Yep,
Okay, so, and that would not do anything to the exterior of the building, of course, this is just finishing this.
it doesn't do anything to any of the systems,
And it-
just adding a block and.
So if we ever added the other 12, it would be whatever the overall expense would be to do that.
That time, yeah. If you did it now for both areas, you'd be at $894,780.28. So when we added that together, we were at what, 1 million something? I'll let you take over from here.
Well, no, I'm just. It kind of depends on what they choose.
Yeah,
I mean, if you choose,
if we
if you
chose
choose to
it
do
all,
the all four,
yeah.
the 894,000.
Mhm,
I mean, you're just short of 1.1 million.
mhm.
That's with, that's,
Add
so how I can,
34,000 on the first page.
so,
No, that's all.
so if I
that's
take
all.
the 894,000, and depending on which rolling shelf unit you use, I used 101,000
Yeah.
for the change order to Stronghold, the change order to Clucky, a $20,000 warming kitchen, the change order to Kraus, the deduct from KE Flatwork, you're just short of 1.1 million.
And
It's
I
actually
think that
1,088,000.
included SCI though too, didn't it?
Yeah, it included the change, leaving
It
us,
included SCI, didn't it?
But see, SCI is already, half of that 26,000 is already out of
That's paid.
that's paid.
Yeah, it can come out. I mean, it's
I don't,
included.
I do not have that in my figures right here because it's already been,
I thought
paid.
we had the 53, 56 in there. In there. We used the 134,000, didn't we?
the 134 could be subtract, might subtract 26,000 on that, because that's already paid.
Well, yeah, but it's not, then I have to add it to that.
so that's where some of the discussion needed to be had as far as. This is what makes it very confusing. There were a lot of things that we looked at. When it came to trying to figure all of this, as I call it, the cogs, to get the cog net up. You know, because you're talking about bond money, you're talking about ARPA money, you're talking about some change orders. We're talking about which rolling shelves do you want? Is 20,000 enough for the warming kitchen, So there's a lot of variables here, and I guess,
Well,
So at one
on
time we had.
the maximum amount. I think that's what we want to cover.
you're still in that 1.1 million.
Okay.
That's the ballpark to start with.
And how are we funding that or what's it? I mean, are we gonna go over the money or?
Well, we should go over the money, yeah, I mean,
It's the board's decision how they wanna,
Yeah,
I mean, I can show you. We can talk
a
about where
proposal,
it's, so, we have money at Andrew Jackson Care Facility. You wanna take any money out of that? We have money at the Andrew Jackson Farm. We have some money in the supervisor's budget. We talked about before about the LATCF funds. I applied for that last week. Might get it this week. I'm not sure. I haven't received an email back, but that's 50,000. We also have some money in the courthouse capital improvement fund. The interest that we received on the money is actually in the general fund already, so it's not like we can say we're gonna spend the interest money. So, cause that's already in the ending fund balance.
But that.
but it should have
that is
increased
your
the
tax.
ending, on the ending fund balance.
But that, according to the bond, because it was accrued because of the bond specific for the jail, that has to be spent on,
That money does.
Yeah.
Then we've got the remaining uncommitted ARPA funds. So there's money there. We've also got a capital improvement fund for the jail construction, and we've got the general fund balance also.
And did we have any contingency? I know at one time we had a contingency.
we're at negative because we're depending on the 285
Well,
the
we do
grant,
also have
that
the actually
that you'd been
grant,
promised for the grant to
260.
go in. To cover these extra costs that we knew we were gonna have to buy out.
So that was the question,
But
the
bottom line,
Henson grant, I mean. You know, with John, we're looking at walls and the construction cost. I wasn't sure what to do with the Ashley Henson grant and how that's going to affect the rest of the jail construction. I don't know how to apply any money. Cause I'm not in charge of this. I'm not, you know, I don't know, you've got Kelly doing all of this, so I don't know how to allocate any of that money towards what would go to this project. So there's, like I said, we've got all different kinds of funds. Some is the general fund, the Andrew Jackson Care, the Andrew Farm. We've got some capital improvement fund. We've got bond money. We've got ARPA money. We have a lot of different moving parts here. So during the night, I got up and I was thinking about, do we have enough money when we have the bond money plus the ARPA money? Do we have enough money? And that was what I proposed to Shelley this morning. I came in and I said, do we have enough money to finish the project right now? And, you know, it looks like we do. We do have enough money set aside. But hopefully we don't have a bunch of other things happen to us and other change orders, and because all of that changes then.
Well, I'm reluctant to say that I want to do the expansion. You said once or twice today, well, you know, maybe we can get some more. This will be like worst case scenario, but you know, once we know the project is approved, you can go back and kind of put the screws to the contractors to get them ready. To me, they're more apt to negotiate before once it's approved, they're like, don't need to, you know.
well, I'm just saying that you're where you are.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see 50,000 come out of there. I'm not committing, you know, saying that. I'm just saying, if there's something doubled up or something that they picked up, we're gonna look to see if we can get some of that money out of there. But, I mean, that's what you're looking at as far as construction. I mean, whether you approve it or don't approve it, you know, that's gonna, I went back and negotiated some of the costs of Bill Bruce's because I thought he was high and he thought he was gonna be there after the fact. You know, that he'd be there till February. I said, no, you'll be out of there by December, beginning of January. Because I can't get, even if we make a decision this week, I can't get locked till January, you know. That's what the timing is about. As far as additional construction costs, basically the earthwork's been done. I mean, we don't have any unsuitable soil conditions or surprises in that fact. I mean, so I don't anticipate a lot of change orders on that fact. I mean, if we want to buy, you know, some of that for partitions out of something else, but like I said, you can't, if you're taking money out of the county's pocket, you're taking it, you know, it doesn't matter what pocket we take it out, we're still taking it out of pocket, but I mean, you have the money, my understanding is that we probably have the money to complete the project. If that's your
Okay,
wish,
stop a minute. Complete the project as is or with the additions?
with the addition.
With the additions, okay.
Well,
But then are we depleted?
okay, that's the question, you know, all of a sudden, if you take money out of Andrew Jackson Care, let's just say.
When we say that, I'm willing to do some of that, but not depleting that account.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying we need to decide. If you take money out, how much? I haven't made any of those
Sure.
projections at all, because that's not my decision. But the problem is if we make this decision, you make this decision and the sprinkler system goes, where do we get that money at? Now, we don't anticipate a lot of money coming out of the county farm. We get rent every year. We do have to pay property taxes. So, you know, other than that, we have very limited amount of expense at the county farm. So we would have some,
The solar.
well, the solar is actually budgeted. You know, at budget time, we did budget the money for the solar. We did budget money for the county's portion, both the county and the conservation was actually budgeted for our portion of the payment for the Prairie Creek Trail, so that's budgeted. You know, it's the, you know, if something happens.
Unknowns.
No, yeah, so, you know, I
So
mean.
just by, you know, you're talking. To complete both sides, you're talking 24 extra beds.
Mhm.
Okay, so Brent, tell me if this is logical thinking. I'm gonna say we're gonna house 10. Other individuals from somewhere else. That's $65 a day, is that average?
60 probably.
55 is a safe number.
Okay, well, I use 65 at 10 people. We could do 20. We could do, but that's $650. And if I did times 300 days, which is 80% of the year, that's $195,000 a year. But that's not all profit either, you know, that is,
Right.
you have
I was
expenses.
gonna say, you gotta staff that, and are we expanding this to bring in outside people, or are we expanding this because we think we're going
Cheaper
to
now.
need this?
Is just less expensive.
Oh, we understand that, but we still have to be able to afford it.
Right.
No, I'm not
Yeah, It's
disagreeing.
it's cheaper now. Eventually, you're gonna, over time, you're probably gonna fill that thing yourself, eventually over time. To where you're not, your revenue.
Not that I'm
your
saying I want
opportunity to
people
bring
in the
revenue-
county to go commit more crimes so we can fill our
No, that's
jails,
that.
but
So your opportunity to generate revenue over time, and I don't know what that time is, if it's 20, 30, 50 years or whatever. Eventually, you will start filling it with your own people and are less likely to be able to keep bringing those people in. So you're trying to do the expansion, so you're not paying out to house people out again someday down the road. In the meantime, make revenue and pay for the jail.
We've heard this time and time again here, we're not building a motel. you
right,
know,
that's
and
what I'm getting at. I don't want to be building this.
I'm to the point where we have 32 beds, I don't know how many times that's changed, but we got what?
28,
That's,
but I can add extra bunks downstairs.
Okay, I thought when we passed this, it was a 32 bed.
No, we've been over this once,
Ah,
and then in the pamphlet, it was 28.
Anyway, if I add another 24, that's 52.
Mhm.
let's call it 50 because.
Yeah, and I guess that percentage of being full at 80% or whatever it is. Hope to God I don't see that in my lifetime, that we're housing 50 prisoners. for
Well, you know,
correction.
some of that, as I've been talking to John, it all kind of depends a little bit of when we get opened up too. You know,
We'll be saving utility costs.
well, there's just a lot of things that, you know, we have to, it just kind of plays into the factor. I mean, John and I, oh gosh, John, we've worked a lot here lately together on stuff because, you know, if you open up in November, it's one thing. If you open up in March, it's another. Then we're kind of getting into where we only have to, what I call shallow breathe for April, May, June. We'll have a new budget year. But let's be honest, what the state legislature has done
We
to
don't know what
counties.
that's gonna be.
I will publicly again say, it makes me nervous. How is Jackson County going to? We have to weather the storm.
Well, I mean, that's no different than the elderly credit, you
Right.
know, what is that gonna do to us? Has anybody put a number to that?
No.
You had
I have not.
1,700 sign up, is that correct?
Yeah, over 1,700 have signed up. So you know what, there's a lot of, again, there's a lot of moving parts that have question marks behind them. And you take the risk when you start taking money from here and here and here and here. Yes, it spreads the risk out, but it's still a risk.
I agree.
And I'm not saying don't do the project, I'm not saying doing the project, but then if all of a sudden you start filling the jail up and we need more employees and we're already a little bit nervous, we're kind of, you know, shallow breathing, so to speak, then it kind of changes the dynamics of everything. I mean, I can tell you what all of these numbers are, but that really, I'm not sure you're ready to do that yet.
Yeah, how does that, doing this change your employees?
Well, it shouldn't,
They shouldn't, but you're all being controlled by the control, I mean,
right? You're gonna have 3 and 4 employees regardless.
what's the expenses you're gonna
That's
have?
what, I didn't know if you did a prisoner to jailer ratio or if
No.
it's,
I would just say you have to have adequate staff to respond in the event of emergency. That's what the code says for guidance. There's not a 1 to 10 or.
I didn't know.
Yeah, the state of Iowa doesn't have an exact ratio for inmates to correctional officers.
Okay.
But this style jail will require 3 people to run it.
Right,
And it's got 10 people sitting in it, or it's got 50 people sitting in it. It's gonna take 3 people to run it. Back to what Mike was saying earlier, I mean, we hope we wouldn't, renting 10 spaces out would not, I mean, it's still 10 spaces. But I would plan on, in the beginning, once we get up and running, until we start depleting that number by having our own inmates in there. And that's a moving number. On average, we probably have 10 on a daily average. Last July, we had 25. But I still look at it as, we just had an influx in July, so let's just call it 10, a running average. So if I've got a 50-bed jail, I'm looking at that, still gives me 30 beds to rent out in the beginning for how many years until that number starts dwindling down. So 30 beds times 55, that's how I did.
Well,
my
20
figures.
beds times 55 times 365 comes out to like $405,000.
I don't think you can figure 365, but.
Well, but even that's an extra 350. The one thing is that we look at pulling from the county farm, the one thing I thought about, I didn't know if this is,
well,
you know, when we're subtracting from the county farm, Andrew Jackson, and this would be we're gonna lean on you, is my idea would be, could we do loans? Where as this extra revenue comes back in and there's a surplus, can we pay some of that back so we're not strapped as long?
basic, you get what, rather than making your funds bigger.
Well, it doesn't come to us anyway. it goes to
No,
the
but
jail.
I'm
Yeah,
saying,
but that's my question. Let's say we pull our many, whatever, out of the Andrew, or the county farm. If we're running a surplus. And we're doing this knowing we're taking a risk with the understanding. We need you to 20 beds, I don't think would be that hard to do. That's run for it. Let's say you have a $200,000 surplus. We get X percentage of that goes back to kind of help replenish some of these funds. So we're not strapped as long. Is that a possibility?
Well, and you have your next rent payment coming in next March.
Yeah.
So I mean.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, because that way we can continue future projects because, you know.
And there again, more moving parts,
Yeah.
you know, we get rent from Andrew Jackson Care every month. You know, so
Every
that does,
No,
Every
the
month.
facility.
Every month.
oh, the care, oh,
Yeah, okay,
okay, sorry.
the other thing is, it's a little bit like your child, taking your child to college. You just think you're gonna go there that day and you're gonna drop your child off, and all of a sudden you gotta go to Walmart, cause you gotta buy, you know what, you gotta buy the waste paper basket and the shampoo and, you know, all of those. So the question is now, what's the startup cost for the jail? Another moving part. Is it 10,000? Is it 100,000?
I'm a little bit taken by the fact that, you know, I understand there's always gonna be change orders, you know, but when this facility was bid out, I thought basically it was turnkey. You know, and we had most of it.
I told you right from the beginning that, you know, there will be change orders, but, I mean,
I mean, there was a lot.
you
of
can
things
look
that-
at the engineering and everything. You know, if you get it out the bid, there's things that you're gonna change. You're gonna change it in your house. You probably changed it when you built your barn and made some changes and stuff. You know? Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
I mean,
well,
I don't do the design, but I'm building it, but when I see something that's not right. You know, or it's not gonna operate the way you need it to operate, I'm gonna suggest that change, recommend that change. It's not, you gotta take it, but it's, you know, recommend. You know, what's best for my client, so.
But you know, really, that's the question is, do you go with the 2 GPs and the 2 medium max? Do you just do 4 G? And so then again, all of those figures change again.
right. And I'm looking at them and I don't know that I can decide in the next 10 minutes, but. The point is, you know, I still look at it as an investment to say, what is the payback years here for me?
Mhm.
You know, if I'm using. Money that's here, and not that it's, not we're gaining on it with interest or anything, But this is a possibility of revenue or a payback anyway. You know, what is my payback years in that? Is it 7 years? Is
It
it
does,
anything else we talked about?
it does a pay the project back earlier.
Well, that's what I mean.
You know, on the
so-
bond, I mean, he's paid back 2 years earlier.
Yeah, and then we're saving that, you know, whatever the yearly payment.
Cause you can't make overpayments for.
I was gonna say-
Yeah.
That-
But
yeah.
you can
Run that
save
past
it.
me again?
So we're not allowed to pay back that bond off early. If all of a sudden we get a windfall, somebody gives us, this money.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to pay off our bond early.
Yeah, you're allowed to pay it off early
We have to wait till
after 7
after
years.
so many
Oh,
years.
okay.
After 7 years, you
Committed,
can
yeah, well, I
Yeah.
think
accumulate that money.
either way.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, I mean, we can't,
You
next
can't
week
make
say,
extra payments for
No.
those first 7 years
Yeah.
because of the
Yeah.
investors are
I
guaranteed.
guess, you know, I mean, we talked about the interest, of course, and whatever it is, but it goes back into,
the general fund.
and that amount is equal to a round number. I mean, I don't know if
I
that's
think there's,
even,
I think there's interest money, which was about 92,000 on the bond money,
okay.
but there's other money that got in, or was it the 92,000 on ARPA? Ooh.
Yeah, I thought the bond money was higher.
Well, the figure that we originally were going off of, because originally we were paying some of the money out of the general fund, so then we had to transfer money out of the bond money into the general fund to replace it. So then the original figure that we thought we were talking about went down considerably. So,
Okay, is there anything we want to throw out there for scenarios?
Well, the biggest, I've talked to several people that even came at the Together We Build, it became a topic of conversation. And I talked in front of another group and they were all like, this seems like a no-brainer, we should do it. And the big fear is, like the jail we have currently, it was paid extra to expand it, but it never would. It's
Probably
just gonna
never
be,
will.
whatever we don't do now,
Probably will not.
most likely will
Won't
never happen
happen.
again.
Yeah.
So this is our one time so to me, it's. I don't think you can do 4 general pops because on the 2 medium max, they're individual cells versus just bunk beds or whatever, so, I mean. They're designed different, so it's one of those things. It'd been nice if we could, hindsight's always 20/20, but nice to approve this package to start, but there's different money we didn't have and all that kind of stuff, different circumstances, so. This is one of those things right now, but again, I'm gonna say I probably talked to 20 people in the last 2 weeks. And they were like, please just do it.
I had people coming up and telling me the same thing, Don, and that's why. I even brought it to the attention of the board. Some days I wish I hadn't,
But-
but
And so that,
I mean, it was my responsibility to bring it to your attention.
if by chance we do approve this and we go for it, all the expansion, and you come in with, we didn't realize that you guys don't pay a utility to go here, the wrath of God will fall upon you. Because there will be tough shit is what it's, sorry, tough chuckers, there is no more, this is it, eat it.
I
It's
know,
what the frames get, Weird Al Mike, Weird Al Yankovic, the song is Eat It, you're just any other. Eat it.
So, just a scenario, or just again, to get 12 more in the general pop, to me makes sense. I mean, that's, if you got 250 stuck into that sounds like an easy payback. If we're gonna house somebody, we're not taking max people anyway. To me, that makes sense. And does it make any sense to do half of the max, like 6? That would be 3, 4, 5, that would be 550, which is reasonable for us.
Mhm.
Which gives us 18 more beds. Does that make any sense? Or does that make this facility, doesn't look any better, any different outside other than this top part is finished over here, this top part ain't?
Yeah, I'm
Does
just,
that make any sense to the sheriff?
I'm just working the numbers on if we just did the 12 and the.
General.
General pop,
Yeah,
so I'm still there, and I'm just working.
I don't have a problem with that at all. I
I'm
don't.
working all the math, I mean. I would say that might leave you less than $100,000 in revenue coming in a year. So I mean, it's still to the positive rather than the negative. But
So Mike, you're talking about finishing the 2 general population and finishing 1 of the medium max, is that what you're?
Yes.
yes.
That
now you're
puts us
talking
at
your 18
about 550. Right?
Constructed.
I got 248 for the total of general pop, and I've got half of the 600 for the total.
Okay, if we
So
only
that's
do
three.
half of that though, is that truly gonna cut to half what this bid is?
Yes.
Well, I take it that way, but maybe not.
Well,
Yeah,
sometimes
I get it, I hear you.
Constructability, if you go to do it in the future, there will be more.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it.
And if you got
I
one
have no
mask
doubt.
on, does it make sense to do the whole mess at once?
I mean, and talking to some of these builders when I was down there or in the outside even. You know, they're like, if you're gonna do it, now's the time to do it, because if you gotta do it later on. Their cost goes tremendously just because of what they have to go to be able to get into that medium max area.
The lock
You know,
facility.
They forget a screwdriver down in the truck. It takes them how long to go through the screening of, okay, they gotta be searched when they're leaving to make sure they're not carrying anything out they shouldn't be carrying out. They go grab their screwdriver, then they gotta be searched all again to make sure they're not bringing in anything that they're not supposed to be bringing in.
Even without the searches, the
So-
locked doors are. in.
I think we all agree that's not probably the option.
I'm just gonna say it, everybody's scared to death of the change orders. And I'm just gonna say that the change order 2-1 on here for security electronic changes, additional cameras and door and frame changes. I totally disagree with it, but, you know, me and Andrew sat down, we went through all the doors the first time. We got the plan back to just verify the doors were all wrong, we had to go through them all again, even though the doors were not. Even being built yet, so. I'm just saying, in my opinion, there's no way on God's green earth that we had $40,000 in changes in there. I just roughly was looking through the doors that we went through in those 2 days, and there's probably as much deducts in there as there is. There's probably more deducts than any changes we would have brought, and the changes should have been automatic, they should have been there anyway in the first place. Like the width of doors to get laundry equipment from the sally port into the kitchen to get to the laundry room. I mean, if we've built 30 some of these jails, that should have been automatic from jail 2 and going forward. So I just can't in good conscience not say that today, so. I'm disagreeing with that change order, that very first one, I know we're kind of getting stuck in the weeds on that. That's kind of got me fired up, and I don't blame the board for being scared to death of change orders going forward. I mean, we need to no shit, lock it down.
I mean,
If
yeah,
we're gonna do this,
out of these bids,
that's.
I got the original plans that we had and we went through and we marked up when we had preliminary plans. The plans did change for the doors because I told you couldn't afford it before. You know, that we had to keep it within budget guidelines. That's why we kept commercial doors. And I mean, I even talked about this change order and I knew that it was being implemented, but that's what they needed and the same thing. So that's what we got.
okay.
That's going
In a way
forward,
that
anyway.
drives me a little nuts. You sat right there and said well, you couldn't afford it. So we went with this, but then we went ahead and approved, you went ahead and approved,
I mean, we as a group
right?
during design, not me.
Well, no,
It's
I'm not saying necessarily you, I'm just saying you came forward and said that. You know, we couldn't afford it. But now we're throwing in a change where it would have been better to have it in the initial thing,
It would have still been the same $40,000.
but
This
again,
is-
upfront costs are a lot easier to eat than behind the. After the fact
This
costs,
has been going on for some time.
So let's talk about one thing with cameras there. I gotta get this.
so here's my question, if we're going with this, say we go with this alternative 2 of the medium max 12 bed.
Yeah.
Whole thing. How many change orders are we gonna see there?
You won't see any. That's the bid. Based on the plans.
Okay,
I mean,
that was my thought in going to the other things and we seen change orders come in for change in cement colors. Yeah, it was a minor compared to this one. But
Well, did you
Again.
know what color you wanted before?
I wasn't
No.
involved in that process.
No, but
But-
nobody knew exactly what color. And to get a bid, how do I get a bid?
But then
I
wouldn't you-
gave them a
wouldn't you
specific
on an
amount.
average say, I mean, I don't wanna get in an argument here with this whole thing, but wouldn't you on an average say, okay, people add. 3 bags, on an average, people add 3 bags of color to their cement.
That's
Some
what I
do
did.
5, some do 0.
That's what I did. I had a specific number from another job.
I got told it was, we didn't add any color to it.
No, it had color added to it. You have to put pigment in. We decided to go to a little darker shade, which took more pigment, and I had to pay for the more pigment, but they had a standard that they had to follow. I had to develop some standard, so I developed it off of Henry County, which is a lot lighter than yours.
There's no decision on this that needs to be made today, correct?
No,
Okay,
I mean,
I can't in my right mind even fathom options and stuff until we actually get to chew on real numbers. And so I think we need to sit down and look at real numbers to figure out
I would
where we're
agree with
standing.
that.
Because
I mean-
again, I can't say, you know, ideally, we do it all, because again, whatever we don't do today will never get done. And then you'll answer to that fact if we ever decide to do it, because it's 3, 4, 5, 6 times more expensive.
Well, you know,
So-
and just making a decision on the rolling shelves, is 20,000 enough for the kitchen? I mean, again, there's decisions that need to be made that will enter into if we can afford or not afford. So that's kind of where I'm at, is I can put some rough stuff together, but until you tell me, then I don't know.
Well, I think 4 shelving units, plenty. Is there more than 1 rolling shelving unit? I thought there was 3.
3.
It's 3.
Okay, so are we talking about all of them? Or are we
That's
talking-
just 3 in evidence. There's 2.
We got 3
future.
included now.
You got some up in the
That's what I'm
storage.
saying. I'm actually talking about 3 actual full foot. There's a rolling unit here. There is a rolling unit over in this room, and there's a rolling unit somewhere else. I think there's 3 rolling units throughout. Correct?
The
Oh,
building.
no, there's a lot more than that. You got.
No, the actual.
Yeah,
This,
There's only 2 locations. for that, right?
2
One is in
locations
records,
with
one's-
rolling racks in them.
Well, in the jail, there'd be rolling racks
Yeah.
for laundry.
so
You
you
got-
got on the plans, there are 3 individual sets of rolling.
3 locations.
3 locations. Yeah, laundry,
Yeah,
record storage up front in the
Okay.
admin. And evidence.
so.
And then you have your lockers for your locker room.
We're not going there though.
So in the rolling racks, you're talking here, the. Where are they?
Adding the 2,
The primary cost without 2 sets of future carriages. Then you add 2 set, is that for each? Or is
No,
that
just
for
one,
Which
just for
one?
evidence.
Just in the evidence.
Just for evidence. It's just one area that. You can get 2 additional racks if you wanted.
I think I'm good with what it comes with. I don't, right now, I don't.
Let me ask this.
I have one other question, is the washer and the dryer. Are we gonna use what we existing have?
Oh, no, that's a
residential
unit.
Okay, so there again, there is nothing here for a washer and dryer. How much is that gonna cost?
Is that true? There's no,
and are we going just a
thought there
commercial
was a-
unit? Are we going commercial units as in what was in the hospital? They take up a whole wall.
No. You wouldn't go that big. I mean,
I'm
it's set
just
up for
saying.
commercial, I mean.
Is it
People,
set
you
up
could
for-
get by in residential with 10 people possibly, you know,
Right.
if you want to buy all new, I mean, that's fine too, I mean.
but that's not in.
It's not in there, no, it's again, an item that was to be purchased out of contingency and we didn't have any contingency. Plain and simple.
Is there any other items to be purchased out of contingency that we don't know about?
I don't know, what do you wanna buy?
Well, see, that's
Yeah.
the question, is what's the startup cost?
I mean,
That's
we
the-
went
that's the
and we
question
looked
that
at
I-
furniture, we thought we had enough furniture to cover the squad room currently. I mean, there's stuff that you can do again in the future too. I mean, when you get this done, I mean, can you budget next year, use the residential for 2 months or something? You gotta tell me what you want me to purchase out and I'll get you numbers on it.
I'm not Used to
mean-
build these, and I don't know what it is to make it turnkey. Like I said, I assumed that when we were building this, it was gonna be close to turnkey. We have to have it operational. We can't build something that's not operational, so we have to have the equipment. I have no idea what it costs. None.
I agree, I understand you can't do tests, you can't do certain things, but I would assume that networking and laundry are
Well-
required.
Networking and laundry are required and they were in the original estimate, but they weren't in the bid because. Are we using Cat 6? Are we using Cat 6E? Are you putting?
I don't know what the
drops here,
difference is. I don't
you
know.
Yeah, well, you can't estimate something or you can't specify something, or then I come back and say, well, we gotta move the Cat 6E. And it's ad of $2,000, and then you guys come back and say, well, I thought this was turnkey, or why do we have a change order when we already had network wiring in there? That's the type of things we're looking at here. We spent less than, what, 44,000, or even with this 40,000, 80,000 out of 8.5 million on change orders. And some of the change orders, we anticipated some cost because we knew for a fact we're either gonna have to pay the city 18,000 or something, or pay the contractor to get it. Plus, we were gonna have to pay a bunch to get the steel building on, and I was able to get them both included into that. So, I mean, you have the letters and I have the documentation that we got from the city saying that. So, I mean, we're not talking shit for change orders. I mean, you're not gonna have a project without change orders. None. I mean, turnkey is, yeah, you'll be able to walk into this facility when it's said and done. But I mean, we left specific items like the high density shelving out to save you money, because we said that at the beginning, that I would assist you in purchasing out those items. It was unfortunate COVID came around, and it was unfortunate we didn't pass it way back when, because we were talking a lot less money than even we're spending today.
Right.
But that's what we were handed when COVID came around. I mean, when this project jumped up. And then we were told, we were told as a group that from the legislators that we had the grant money that we would have had in here, that we wouldn't even be talking about any additional monies for the project. That fell through on us somewhat. Now, I guess we can research it and go back to Kelly, because she's saying we can be using it now. But I mean, I did estimating out my butt during this time, and it, Mike, as far as I copied you on everything. That I estimated every which way but loose to get this grant taken care of. So I mean, I'm working for you guys, but man, I got a ton of work in this thing, and as far as this and everything else. So I mean, we're trying to control cost for you. That's what I'm about, control.
And
cost.
Ned and I are working half because we kind of,
Yeah,
we're coming in this, 2/3 of the way or half.
yeah, I don't blame you guys a bit. because,
That's why I'm questioning, because it's like, I don't know what was,
What happened over the course of 2 years.
Right,
I mean, we've been on this for 2 years. I mean, this is supposed to, typically we were finishing these things in 11 months.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, should have
I'm
been done
fixing-
before I came on here.
I'm on Medicare now, and I thought I was a young man when I started this job, So
Hey,
I
John,
just want to assure you, I am working on your behalf
I get
and trying to keep the costs down, but I got a swing deal.
It's frustrating.
It's just
on both
like
ends.
this
We-
grading should have been a lot higher. But I was able to negotiate some of the grading down because I didn't go as deep with the building. I
According
don't
to the
tell you
state, we're looking
everything.
at about 2% of the project cost change.
Oh, yeah. And that, 1/2 of 1% in there, so. I mean, we're not looking at a bunch of changes, and we've saved money along the way that I was able to negotiate certain things for you. And, I think as a group, we've done a great job at controlling these costs. And, we just got to continue to control them. As far as additional change orders, I don't see any. I mean, so, I figured you guys.
You want to get quoted on that, you're already.
Yeah, I know. I don't have a problem with that. I can right now say, no, but,
Right off the top
I'm
of
still
your
hoping
head,
there's some
John, do you
savings.
remember what the bids come back when we opened the bids all that day? And I mean, the total bids to me was 7, 6, 9,
I can tell you.
6, 6, yeah.
So we. you know,
Yeah, that was not without architectural fees or anything like that, yeah. The bids originally,
What was the bid for the expansion?
it was $6,627,183.
I'm sorry,
$6,627,183. Now, and then when we got the bond, you know, we paid out 28,000. Or, you know, we paid the rating agency out of the bond money, which typically that's paid before the bond is even issued. Cause the bonds weren't even issued, the project wasn't bid. Yeah, you know,
well,
so.
it's obviously new to all of us and.
And then board, no, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that we pulled costs besides, we paid for the bond issuance costs, so. You know, we're saving the general fund, you know, we're being efficient with the monies that we receive.
Okay, so I'm just showing some odd numbers. So the bond was 5.9 and we already had committed how much from the ARPA?
1.6.
1.6, so we're at 6.6.
The.
1.6 or 1.8, did we?
I've always gone off with a 1.6.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what,
Because I think, and you know, here's what I'm thinking, probably what happened is that we were thinking that the Ashley Hinson grant was gonna go for construction walls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I got
Physical.
dropped down to 1.6.
Okay.
I started at 1.8,
Yeah.
I'm not a.
we started,
I think your numbers are off because like you said, that's the bid for the project, it's usually about 10% their fee, which would add about.
Actually, that is 7.5, yeah.
You know, that would be about, what was your guys' fee, the contractor?
the architecture was, 357,000, he deducted 4,000.
And then your fee,
And then my fee was 225,000.
so there you have like 550, so that bumps you up into that 7.3 whatever category.
And so I mean, you received $6,006,164.70. Then minus the bond issuance costs, rating fees and stuff. I mean, we balance exactly.
I'm not
at
gonna dispute
5.9.
any of them numbers.
No,
John and I have spent a lot of time, yeah.
Well, and I appreciate that.
I mean, we were at 6.6 million, 6.7 million around. You know, and now we're at 6.670.
But with the 5.9 bond and the 1.6 ARPA money, we had 7.5.
7.606, 164.70.
That was
So
the,
where's,
that was my problem over the night when my brain wouldn't shut off, because that's the exact thing that I had to come in this morning and say to Shelley, do we have enough money to finish the project without any expansion? And that answer, I believe, is yes.
see, what we need is, what I need to see is, you have that, okay. The 1.6 to 5.9 comes out to this, we're gonna say, is there any cushion in that? And what's left over in the ARPA money and the other accounts to see where the.
There is uncommitted ARPA funds right now, yes.
Yeah, but what I'm
So I
saying,
looked at all of the, and that's why I knew that the harbor wall was, you know, the figure that I mean, I've looked at all of these over and over and over again. So we still have to pay for, because you as a board did say that you would help pay for the imaging here for the records.
Right.
There's still of that, you've committed $133,551.73. Then the harbor wall, the contract went out. There was a little bit of confusion. We had to put something into the budget that year, so we put $400,000 in, but when the bid came in, it was like for $343,000.
right,
So I had to say to Nate, you're only gonna get $343,000. You're not getting $400,000. I said, you know, if you want more than that, he's gonna have to come talk to the board. But I said, this is what the contract was for, and that's the number that I worked off of.
right.
So that's why I knew there was 78,000 still. For what we've paid so far for the jail, the project that we have right now, committed to 1.6. We have 632,000. We've paid 967,000 towards the project already out of the ARPA funds, which remains $632,019.17. And I balanced my figures and Shelley agrees. So again, we're looking at all of these different moving parts that we have. Because there's some of the figures that I was looking at was before the bond. There were some expenses that were paid before the bond. Who paid that? And so we had to do some division and taking out some of the costs and such. So I am very confident with my numbers that I have right now. So again, $632,019.17 plus the remaining bond money will finish the project.
Like I say, no decision need to be made today. I think, so,
You need additional information, you know, just let me know what you're looking for and I'll try to get it over. to
Well, we
you.
appreciate
You know, I just.
putting
wanted
it
to get
together.
the
I know it takes time and it takes a lot of effort and it takes. Yeah, especially when contractors don't get back to you in a timely manner and I know they're pulling their hair out. It's hard to get them. I'm just hard to get them to do something.
I'm having to color my hair twice a week now.
I just plucked mine.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for mine to go more.
Thanks, John.
Yep, if you need anything, give me a yell.
Yeah,
How long is their bid good for? That we got,
Well, I would think they're good for 30, 40, 60 days.
okay,
but,
well,
you
I
know,
just,
well, we can't,
When
we're
do we
gonna make a
need to make-
decision
Yeah.
here in a week because we.
I'll be honest with you, you know, I want, the longer we prolong the project, which, you know, the long lead items is I'm seeing 8 to 12 weeks to get the frames. And I need the frames, to get the masons up on that mezzanine. And the locks are the main thing, because Brinks was bought out by Southern Vultures. So they're moving the operations down there and I can't, they're telling me January possibly for the locks, and that'd be the only thing we're waiting on is the dang locks to get going. But I'll probably have to have them for Delbert to approve me opening or getting an occupancy permit for the facility. So I would like to know, I would like to know, like, yeah, I went through this argument before on Davis County. And I had to go steal the stuff from Alameda County to finish Davis County. Luckily, the sheriff wasn't around. So, anyways, I would say, Mike, to answer your question, if we can make a decision.
Yeah.
In the next couple of weeks.
Yep,
You know,
I agree.
I told him, you know, the sooner we make the
I
decision.
got a feeling we'll get some feedback here in the next week.
Okay. If you need anything else from me, let me know, but I'll try to get you whatever I can.
Okay, thanks, John. Anybody else have a question for John?
Just one last question, John. I guess if we deduct something, is that considered a change order? If we deduct something out, is that?
Can you guys talk about that out there?
Yeah,
It was considered a change order.
yeah, oh, I'll change order deduct. You can have change order deducts, change order.
So does it cost something to deduct something, I guess is what I'm asking?
No. It doesn't cost anything. That's. No,
Okay.
any other questions or?
So-
Yeah, you're welcome to stop.
All right, I appreciate it. All right,
Thanks.
any other business before the board this morning? Yes, sir.
I did talk to Todd. You looked for me earlier, I had to go.
And I did talk to Stacy too in between there.
Yeah, I had to step out there, had to go out to the patching there
Yeah.
or something. So, did talk to Todd, and he said he has not received Baldwin's, any agreement yet, so it must be delayed in paperwork, whether it be
Council.
council approval, mayor signature, what have you, but
okay.
we do not have it yet.
All right,
All right.
appreciate it. Thanks, Jaden, for checking.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
I have a motion, a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Bye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Hoo-ha.